Chapter 226. Before he left, Yi Chen used all of his fist power and threw a punch on the training column. Crack! The training column made a noise that made people's teeth hurt. The top half of the training column was twisted into an arc shape. In terms of pure power, the fist power was obviously more powerful than the sword chi. Plus, because it was a close-distance attack, Yi Chen's powerful physical power had also been combined with the fist power of the five-mountain godly fist art. After training the King Kong Jade body, Yi Chen's physical power was close to 50,000 pounds, which was more than enough to blow away a normal whale. The servant who came in to clean up the yard was shocked by what he saw. After leaving the martial city, Yi Chen did not take off his hat. He used his flying art and flew far away. So fast. Right now, my speed should not be slower than Wu Liangyu's, right? During the battle with the beasts in the Gold Tripod City, Wu Liangyu had used the same martial art as the Black Crow Man, which was the high-rank Earth Realm martial art, the Black Crow Great Art. The biggest feature of this martial art was that a pair of Zhen Qi wings could be formed on the back, which would increase the speed. It allowed Wu Liangyu to be way faster than late-clasping Yuan Realm warriors even though he was only at mid-clasping Yuan Realm. Right now, Yi Chen's separating shadow art was also high-rank Earth Realm, which was similar to the Black Crow Great Art. The only difference was that his martial art had increased his speed, while Yi Chen's was purely flying art. Theoretically speaking, Yi Chen's speed should be even faster. Shoo! The scenery on both sides turned into blurry black shadows and moved backward quickly. The wind was like a knife, continuously cutting at Yi Chen's protective Zhen Qi layer. The heavy mystery mountain was getting further and further away, until it disappeared into the horizon. In the restaurant in the small town, there was a little light shining in the guest room on the second floor. Young master, the Wang family in the Star Region Lake is not like our Wang family in the Black Ridge City. That is the main family, a rank 9 family, while our Wang family in the Black Ridge City is only a branch, a normal family. So, when you get there, you still have to endure. You cannot be too hot-blooded. In the room, an elder in a long robe warned the teenager in black. The black-clothed young man was about 14 or 15 years old. His body was slender and agile, and his not-so-handsome face had a unique temperament. His eyes were black with very little white. Although his aura was slightly cold, the smile on his face was very gentle. He said, "Uncle Ju, we are all from the same family. The main family should be as warm as our Wang family in Black Ridge City. So, you don't have to worry. Anyway, I'm not a hateful character. At most, I won't provoke them." Uncle Ju sighed, "You don't understand what I mean. What do you think the main family is calling you over for?" The youth in black said, "Isn't it because my bloodline is pure? You want me to inherit some power? That's the problem. You're just a disciple of a branch family, yet you're able to inherit the main family's power. What will the other disciples of the main family think? They'll definitely not be convinced, and they might even secretly harm you. As long as you die, they'll be the ones to inherit the power." "No way. I wasn't the one who wanted to go. In fact, I didn't even know that there was a master. They don't care about your attitude. What they care about is who inherits the power. Forget it. There's no point in talking to you about this. Everything depends on strength. Sleep early. We'll have to travel through the night for a long time." In the third guest room next door. "Master Liu, why do we have to go through so much trouble? Why don't we just take care of them?" On the edge of the bed, the skinny middle-aged man was wiping his great blade and said in an evil tone. Master Liu stood next to the window with his hands behind his back. His eyes were dark as he shook his head and said, "No. That Uncle Ju is a powerful warrior. I have no confidence that I can beat him. Once they escape, the consequences will be unimaginable. We have to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Wait until the Master's warriors meet up with us. It won't be too late to kill them then. Motherfucker, I can't believe that a branch family has such a pure bloodline. This is so confusing. Bloodline is something that happens by chance. No matter how many generations pass, there might be a special case. I can only say that he is lucky. Very soon, this good luck will turn into bad luck. He can only blame himself for having something that he shouldn't have. The skinny middle-aged man licked his lips, his eyes full of cruelty. I've asked a few of the shop owners, and they all said that the Star Region Lake has the most spirit medicines. I hope to find some good ones there. Yi Chen's destination this time was the Star Region Lake. It did not belong to the Black Dragon Empire, nor the other two countries, because it was way bigger than the three countries combined, reaching millions of miles in radius. It stretched all the way to the center of the misty snow region, bordering on the wavy cloud region and the thunder region. It was one of the top super lakes in the whole true spirit continent, which was way bigger than the ocean in Yi Chen's world. But here, it was still just called a lake. Of course, Yi Chen did not plan to walk around the whole Star Region Lake. With his cultivation, he would probably be eaten by the beasts before he could even walk 10% of the lake. There were a lot of forbidden places in the Star Region Lake, and some of them were extremely dangerous. Even Sea of Souls realm warriors and Life and Death realm warriors would have to be careful. Yi Chen only wanted to walk around the edge of the Star Region Lake that was close to the Black Dragon Empire. In front of him was a barren mountain area. There were not many plants on the mountain, and there were only bare rocks everywhere, stretching for hundreds of miles. Shoo! Extending his body, Yi Chen flew over like a huge bird. There was an ancient road in the barren mountain. On both sides of the road were bare rock mountains, and on the ground were some dried-out grass. There were piles of rocks everywhere, giving people a desolate feeling. The four figures walked at a steady pace. Let's stop here. Wait for the people from the main house. Master Liu turned around, the killing intent in his eyes gone as he said with a smile. Ju frowned and said, "Your mission is not to bring us to the main house. The faster, the better. Wasting time here is a bit against the rules." Master Liu explained, "It is like this. The main house had sent a couple of groups of people to look for you, and each group has a powerful warrior. The road ahead will be very dangerous, so it would be safer if there were more powerful warriors. Then how long do we have to wait? Our Wang family from the Black Hill City did not live in the Black Hill City, and we have not contacted the main house of the Star Region Lake for many years. It would be impossible for them to find us right away. If they could not find us, they would definitely keep searching. How could they meet us here before they could find us?" Master Liu's face froze. He did not think of this loophole, and he could not think of anything to explain it. Could it be that we were not waiting for those people, but the powerful warriors sent by the young master to take care of you all together? The skinny middle-aged man could tell that Master Liu was troubled, so he scolded, "Old man, who do you think you are? I told you to wait, so just wait." "What are you talking about?" Ju said angrily, "Please watch your mouth." "What? Who do you think you are?" The teenager in black was afraid that Ju would be taken advantage of, so he tried to persuade him, "Ju, never mind. Let's wait a bit longer. Maybe we can wait until they come." Ju sighed. He felt that something was wrong, especially that skinny middle-aged man. His tone was very aggressive, and he was afraid that he was not a kind person. He sent a Zhenqi message to the teenager in black, "Snake, if anything happens later, you run first. Don't worry about me." The teenager in black looked at Ju with surprise, not knowing what he meant. Soon, 3 human figures appeared in front of them. "They're here." Master Liu let out a breath. The skinny middle-aged man chuckled, as he looked at Ju and the teenager in black with an evil intention. The leader of the 3 was a scrawny elder, and the 2 people next to him were both muscular men. Judging from the Zhenqi vibration, all 3 of them were above the late clasping Yuan realm. The elder's chi was the most powerful, reaching the peak level late clasping Yuan realm. "Are you sure it's him?" Walking up, the elder asked directly. Master Liu nodded, "Yes, I am sure." The old man sized up the black-clothed youth with an emotionless gaze. He stretched out his hand and pulled the youth over. "Nothing can go wrong with this. I'll have to check it myself." Ju yelled, "What are you doing? Old man, stay there and don't move." The skinny middle-aged man blocked Ju's way and said with a creepy voice. Swoosh. With a wave of his hand, the black-clothed youth's clothes were torn apart and scattered in all directions. On his muscular and slender upper body, there was a picture of a large snake coiled around it. The large snake was vivid and lifelike, and every scale was especially realistic. It faintly opened and closed in accordance with the black-clothed youth's breathing. What was even more shocking was that the large snake had 5 heads, and all 5 heads were exactly the same, and their eyes emitted a faint red light. A 5-headed snake tattoo. I don't think there is a beast like this. Maybe there is some other meaning to it. On top of the rock mountain, Yi Chen appeared out of nowhere. He had cast the Qi hiding spell, and as long as he did not look with his eyes, no one would be able to sense his existence. Leaning against the huge rock, Yi Chen shook his head. Before the elder and the other 2 arrived, he had already sensed the killing intent from Master Liu and the skinny middle-aged man. They did not attack before because they were afraid of Ju, who was guarding the teenager in black, and did not have full confidence. 5-headed snake, the density of the bloodline is indeed high. It is indeed him. The elder grinned and said with a dry voice. The smile on Master Liu's face disappeared, then let's get rid of them here. Hearing him, Ju's expression changed drastically. The thing that he was worried about the most had happened. This group of people obviously wanted to get rid of Snake, who was about to inherit the special power of the main house. Piss off. His Zhenqi exploded as Ju pushed away the skinny middle-aged man with one palm attack. His body then dashed towards the teenager in black, trying to take him back. In front of me, you are not allowed to do whatever you want. The skinny elder waved his hand, and his Zhenqi formed into a huge black snake, which tried to wrap around Ju. Ju had to stop himself from moving. He reached out his hand, and his Zhenqi palm grabbed onto the huge black snake. You are like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. As the elder's voice was heard, the huge black snake slid out of the Zhenqi palm, twisting its long body and jumping towards Ju. Boom. His Zhenqi layer was broken. Ju puked out a mouthful of blood and was blown away. Brat, it is your honor to die in my hands. After blowing away Ju with one attack, the elder's palm turned into a claw, grabbing towards the teenager in black. Shoo! A beam of sword chi shot out. The elder's expression changed drastically, and he hurried to back out, avoiding the sharp sword chi. Catcher! Between the elder and the teenager in black, a sword mark that was dozens of meters long appeared. It was a few feet wide and immeasurably deep. Chapter 227. Sir, who are you? The elder glanced at the sword mark on the ground, then looked at Yi Chen, who was flying towards him. There was a hint of fear in his tone. In the air, Yi Chen reached out his right hand and pulled it back, sucking the teenager in black out of the middle of the 5 people. Ju looked at Yi Chen confusedly. He wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth and walked over. Master Snake, are you okay? The teenager in black shook his head. Seeing the teenager in black had escaped, the elder's face turned dark. Yi Chen had moved way too fast, and he did not have time to react at all. He yelled immediately, I don't care who you are. Give me that brat now. Otherwise, this day next year will be your death anniversary. Yi Chen said, I will give you 3 breaths of time. Piss off now. Little bastard, you are looking for death. I will take care of you right now. The skinny middle-aged man who was the closest to Yi Chen yelled. Zhenqi poured out of his body, and his body moved like lightning. He took out his blade and threw out a quick attack. Without taking out his sword, Yi Chen made a fist with his right hand and threw out a simple attack. The blade light disappeared, and the long blade in the middle-aged man's hand suddenly exploded into pieces. Thousands of pieces shot out like rain. Right after that powerful fist power came over with an unstoppable momentum. All of a sudden, he felt that it was not a fist, but a mountain, a horrifying mountain that was moving at a high speed. Boom! Under that fist attack, the middle-aged man could not handle the power. His right arm and half of his body had been blown up. Blood poured out like crazy, and it seemed like he was not going to make it. It is indeed not a normal mid-rank Earthrealm fist art. The first movement is only at entry level, and it already has this much power. When he was training the 5 mountain godly fist art, Yi Chen had never fought with anyone before. He had only measured its power by the damage caused by the training columns. Right now, he had killed a peak-level mid-clasping Yuan realm warrior with only one punch, which made Yi Chen realize that the price of the 5 mountain godly fist art for 210,000 low-rank soulstones was not without reason. Judging from its power, It was already not that much weaker than high-rank Earth realm martial arts. Seeing that, the elder's expression got darker and darker. You three attack together. Do not be careless. Yes. Master Liu and the other two muscular men formed an arc-shaped battle formation and surrounded Yi Chen. The first one to attack was Master Liu. As a late clasping Yuan realm martial artist, he was way more powerful than the skinny middle-aged man, and he also had a lot of battle experience. He stomped his foot on the ground and released his hidden power, forming a huge mud mound and throwing it out. At the same time, he opened his mouth and let out a roar. He reached out his right hand and condensed his Jun Qi into a huge snake head. The snake head opened its mouth wide and flicked its tongue, showing its sharp fangs. What a strange martial skill. Yi Chen squinted his eyes, his body flashed, he dodged the huge mound, and his fist collided with Elder Liu's. The head of the snake had been shattered, and Master Liu puked out a mouthful of blood. However, he did not fly out just like that. Instead, his body slanted, and a sharp Jun Qi snake tail appeared behind his butt. The Jun Qi snake tail was covered in scales and curved like a hook. Shoo! It stabbed towards Yi Chen's chest. Yi Chen did not panic. He raised his left index finger and pointed at the void. Bang! The true Qi snake tail exploded. Snake scale arm. While the two were fighting, the slightly taller muscular man dashed over. The clothes on his right arm were torn apart, and there were tiny scales on his skin. Those scales were not condensed by Jun Qi, but were real scales. Each of them was the size of a fingernail, and the edges were curved, shining with a cold light. Seeing those scales, the first thing that came to Yi Chen's mind was a snake. The martial arts of the Wang family seemed to all be related to snakes, and this muscular man was even more ridiculous. He had never seen or heard of snake scales on his skin, which was completely different from the ghost head's beast transformation martial art. Kicking away Elder Liu, Yi Chen raised his hand and grabbed onto the muscular man's scale-covered fist. Snake entanglement. Unexpectedly, the muscular man's fist was like a snake's head, and his arm was like a snake's body. With a slight twist, he slid out of Yi Chen's palm and coiled around Yi Chen's arm. Then, he straightened his body and threw out a punch. Strange. So strange. It seems like there are no bones left. Yi Chen took a step back instantly. As his opponent was about to run out of power, Yi Chen threw out his right fist with a bright yellow light. Crack! His opponent's seemingly boneless right arm exploded with a series of bone-breaking sounds, as he screamed and was blown out. Among the three, the last muscular man pulled out the distance between him and Yi Chen. He bent his body, pressed both of his hands on the ground, and yelled, "Crazy snake dance. Rumble." It seemed like there were countless huge poisonous snakes crawling out from the ground. Once they got out of the ground, they would definitely be drowned in the sea of snakes. A smile appeared on Yi Chen's face. The fist power of the five-mountain godly fist art contained the earth element. Under the ground, even the Jun Qi from a high-rank earth realm martial art would not be able to win against his fist power. Five mountain condensing forms. Break. Bending his body to throw out a punch, Yi Chen's fist deeply sank into the ground. This time, the noise was even bigger than the one made by the muscular man. It was like a huge earthquake had happened within hundreds of meters radius. It was shaking intensely, as if the sky was falling and the ground was cracking. Even the air had turned dirty, which made people feel like the sky was no longer the sky, and the ground was no longer the ground. Visibly, a circle of bright yellow light started from Yi Chen, shooting towards the muscular man at a fast speed. It blew him into the sky, causing him to puke out 3 huge mouthfuls of blood. "Young warrior, watch out." Suddenly Uncle Ju warned Yi Chen loudly, his voice extremely hurried. "Haha, it's too late. Under my Snake King's entanglement, no matter how powerful you are, you will still be crushed into meat paste." The elder, who had been quiet the whole time, crossed both of his hands in the air. That rich and cold Jun Qi accumulated around Yi Chen, forming a huge snake with black scales. It had 2 heads, its upper body high up in the air, and its lower body deep into the ground. Its body twisted into circles, trapping Yi Chen inside. Right then, the huge snake's body started to wriggle, trying to wrap around Yi Chen to death. Uncle Ju's face was extremely pale. No matter if it was a normal snake or a demonic snake, the most powerful close combat attack would be the entanglement. No matter how powerful the enemy was, once they were entangled, it would already be great if they could perform 20 to 30% of their power. The teenager in black was also looking at Yi Chen with the same worry. "Sorry, I was just playing with you." Taking out his Star sword, with the help of his sword intent, Yi Chen threw out a sword attack. Swoosh! The huge black-scaled snake that was formed from Zhenqi was cut in half. Yi Chen walked out of the gap and looked at the elder with a faint smile on his face. "What? Keep on entangling." The elder's expression changed drastically. He waved both of his hands in the air. That huge snake that had been cut in half grew out its own head and tail, turning into two huge snakes that continued to entangle towards Yi Chen. Cut! Yi Chen did not even look at the huge snake as he waved out a sword attack towards the elder. The elder's body froze, and the next second, he was cut in half. Blood splashed everywhere. "Run!" Master Liu and the two bulky men could not care about anything else. Even the most powerful elder had been killed, so what else could they do? As long as they could get back to the main house of the Star Region Lake, there would be plenty of opportunities to kill them. Yi Chen shook his head. Since he had already killed 2 of them, he would not mind killing 3 more. These people did not look like good people anyway, and keeping them alive would only bring more trouble. 3 beams of sword chi disappeared, leaving behind 3 dead bodies. Zhu froze for a second, then came back to his senses. He hurried to pull the teenager in black and walked over, saying with respect, "Thank you, young warrior, for saving our lives. Master Snake and I could not thank you enough." Putting away his Star sword, Yi Chen said, "No need to thank me. It was just a moment of interest. Young hero, you saved me and Snake on a whim. I have no way to repay you, so please accept this." Zhu took out a palm-sized flower from his storage ring. It was in the shape of a fan, with a red bottom and yellow petals. There were 3 petals in total. Blood Sun flower. Yi Chen was going to reject it, but when he saw the appearance of the flower, he was tempted. The Blood Sun flower was a rare spirit flower. It usually grew in places with rich pure yang qi. It had a lot of effects, but the most important one was to nourish the blood and flesh. This Blood Sun flower was the size of a palm, and 1/3 of it was red. It was obviously 300 years old, and a 1,000-years-old flower would be completely red, like a red jade. Although a 300 years old Blood Sun flower was not as powerful as a 1,000-years-old Ganoderma lucidum, it was still better than nothing. In the future, when he mastered the minor blood demon body separating great art, he could use it to free an arm. Since it is like this, I will accept it. Yi Chen did not reject it anymore. He had saved their lives, so it was natural for him to be rewarded. The only difference was whether he wanted it or not. After accepting the Blood Sun flower, Yi Chen asked, "You are going to the Star Region Lake?" Zhu nodded. "Our destination is the Wang family of the Star Region Lake. It is located on the Snake Island. It will take us about half a month to get there." The Wang family of the Star Region Lake? Yi Chen had never heard of it before, but it made sense. The Star Region Lake did not belong to any country. It was millions of miles wide, and there must be a lot of martial institutions and families living there. "Young warrior, are you going to the Star Region Lake as well?" Zhu looked at Yi Chen with hope. After this incident, he knew that there must be someone in the main house who did not want his young master to inherit the special power of the main house. With his power alone, it would be hard for him to keep his young master safe. If only Yi Chen was there. Yi Chen nodded. "It is not impossible for me to take you to the Star Region Lake. I just want to know where you can find the Blood Sun flower." Zhu heard him and said happily, "Our Wang family from the Black Hill City specializes in growing Blood Sun flowers. However, because of the environment, the Blood Sun flower could not be more than 300 years old. The main house of the Star Region Lake and the Wang family from the Black Hill City should have some Blood Sun flowers too. If you don't mind, when we get to the Star Region Lake, my young master and I will try to get you a few Blood Sun flowers. Then I will have to trouble you. If it is too expensive, I can buy it with soul stones." Yi Chen was not in need of soul stones right now. It was not impossible for him to buy a few thousand-years-old blood sunflowers. He wondered if the Wang family in the Star Region Lake had any thousand-years-old blood sunflowers. "Bro, my name is Wang Snake. Are you a late clasping Yuan realm warrior?" the teenager in black asked with admiration. Yi Chen smiled. "Not yet, I am at the mid-clasping Yuan realm." "You are already so powerful at the mid-clasping Yuan realm? You must be one of the top martial geniuses in the South Rudra region." Wang Snake was even more impressed. He was 15 years old this year, and had reached the late condensing reality realm not long ago. If he encountered a clasping Yuan realm warrior, he would not be able to fight back at all. Therefore, once he heard that the main house wanted him to inherit the powerful power, he agreed immediately. His father could not stop him no matter what. Yi Chen did not say anything. When he was the same age as Wang Snake, he was not as powerful as him. But what was different from him was that Wang Snake had a lot of secrets. That 5-headed snake tattoo looked so real, and it was giving off a creepy feeling. Normal people would not be able to sense it, only Yi Chen, who had a powerful soul power, could sense it. Thinking about the martial skills that the Wang family used and the 5-headed snake tattoo on Wang Snake's body, Yi Chen felt that this Wang family in the Star Region Lake was not simple. Chapter 228. The Star Regional Lake was just like its name. The islands inside were like the stars in the night sky, countless of them. Just within the Black Dragon Empire, there were thousands of islands. Among all these islands, only a small part of them were suitable for humans to live in. Most of them were islands with terrible environments. Some of them were far away from the land, and were even occupied by powerful beasts. There were also some islands that had a strange power that could kill anyone who entered. The Snake Island was one of the islands that was suitable for humans to live in. On the endless lake, the waves were sparkling. A huge, compact, and smooth ship was sailing forward at a high speed. At the head of the ship, Yi Chen looked into the distance. Countless island shadows appeared in his sight. "Brother Yi, will you join the South Rudra region Hidden Dragon rank competition this year?" The cabin door opened, and Wang Snake walked towards Yi Chen. Yi Chen said, "Probably. I would like to join as well, but unfortunately, I am not powerful enough. I heard that only clasping Yuan realm warriors can join this year." Wang Snake looked excited. "Clasping Yuan realm warriors? I guess so." The Hidden Dragon rank competition had its heyday and its downfall. After all, it was only held once every 3 years. You could not expect a huge amount of top martial geniuses to appear every time. As for how to tell the difference, it could be seen from the qualification to join. After chatting for a while, Wang Snake felt that there was nothing else to do. "Brother Yi, don't you feel bored? We have been on this ship for half a month already. I should have brought Blackie with me." "It's all right." "Who is Blackie?" "Blackie is a rank 4 beast with 2 heads. It is very powerful. Even late condensing reality realm warriors would not be able to compete with it." Wang Snake said proudly. Yi Chen was surprised. "You can control a 2-headed snake?" "I think so. I am not sure." Wang Snake was a bit confused. With a 5-headed snake tattoo on his body, he could control a 2-headed snake. There was a kind of terrifying chi coming from him. Yi Chen shook his head, he could not figure it out. He said, "Wang Snake, what is with the 5-headed snake tattoo on your body? It does not look like it was tattooed on you." "You mean the 5-headed snake tattoo?" "Of course it was not tattooed on me. I have been like this since I was born. My father also had a 2-headed snake tattoo. But in the family, not many people have this tattoo." Wang Snake did not think too much, he just said casually. Cough, cough. Uncle Ju came out of the cabin. When he heard what Wang Shi said, his expression changed. He quickly coughed a few times, signaling him not to say more. "I'm sorry, young hero Yi. These are our Wang family's secrets. Knowing too much isn't a good thing for you." Uncle Ju's face was apologetic, but his tone was sincere. Yi Chen didn't mind and said, "I was rash." The weather of the Star Regional Lake suddenly changed. A moment ago, the sun was shining brightly, but in the next second, it was covered by dark clouds with thunder and lightning. Huge waves were formed on the surface of the lake. When the bad weather passed, it was already the next afternoon. A rainbow hung diagonally in the dark blue sky, refreshing and pleasant. As usual, Yi Chen came to the bow of the boat and breathed in the fresh air of the lake. At this moment, the hull of the ship suddenly shook violently. Huge waves rose on the surface of the lake for no reason, and a huge shadow could be faintly seen lurking in the water. What happened? What happened? The passengers in the cabin ran out one after another, their faces full of panic. Wang Shi frowned slightly and then relaxed. He said to Yi Chen, "Brother Yi, I feel a familiar vibe. It seems to be a snake-type beast. It is very powerful." Just when Wang Shi finished talking, the front of the boat darkened. Everyone looked over and screamed. "It is the tyrant of the rank 6 beasts, the three-headed snake. Oh no! I can handle normal rank 6 beasts, but a tyrant of the rank 6 beasts is not something we can handle." No one knew when, but 3 huge snake heads had appeared in front of the ship. Each of them was as big as a luxurious carriage, and their eyeballs were like lanterns hanging on a gate, emitting red beams of light. Their 10-feet-long tongues flickered in and out like long spears. It was a terrifying sight. When Yi Chen was about to make his move, Wang Shi stopped him. "Brother Yi, let me try." Unlike the others, Wang Shi slowly walked to the front of the boat, raised his head and said gently, "My name is Wang Shi. Can we be friends?" In the past, the snake-type beasts would not attack him when they met him, and they seemed to understand his words. Therefore, Wang Shi did not think that the 3-headed snake would attack him, so he was not on guard at all. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The speed of the snake's tongues was extremely fast. The 3-headed snake stared at Wang Shi without blinking. Slowly, its body sank down, as if it was about to leave. Cunning bastard. Yi Chen's senses were very sharp. Although the 3-headed snake seemed to be leaving, it was actually a sign that it was about to attack. Without thinking, his body flashed and appeared in front of Wang Shi. Just as Yi Chen expected, the 3-headed snake had no intention of leaving. One of its heads shot over with lightning speed. The bright yellow halo twisted violently as Yi Chen punched out. Boom! A couple of water columns exploded on the surface of the lake. Yi Chen took a step back, leaving a deep mark on the deck. The 3-headed snake was not having a good time either. The head that was attacking Yi Chen started to shake, feeling dizzy. Chin. Taking out his Starscar sword, Yi Chen threw out 2 sword attacks in a row, blowing away the other 2 heads of the 3-headed snake. The burning sparks were like fireworks. "Wang Shi, get back." Yi Chen decided to get serious. Although the 3-headed snake was a rank 6 beast tyrant, it was still not as powerful as the Wind Wolf. If he used all of his power, he would have 30% chance of killing it. But of course, the environment was good for the 3-headed snake, so it might escape. Wang Shi listened to him and backed out, mumbling to himself, "Why did it attack me?" Boom! Huge waves were rolling. The 3-headed snake was very annoyed at Yi Chen for attacking it. The head in the middle opened its mouth, and a blue beast chi gathered, forming a light ball. "Swallow it." Yi Chen flew into the air, his Starscar sword bringing up a mysterious sword light and stabbing into the neck of the 3-headed snake. He shook his wrist, and a powerful sword chi shot out. The blue light ball shattered, and the 3-headed snake raised its head and let out a high-pitched scream. The intense sound wave made the lake surface explode, splashing water everywhere. So powerful. This is a rank 6 beast tyrant, and it was beaten to this state. He looks like he is only 17 or 18 years old. Perhaps he is a top martial genius from one of the super martial institutions in the South Rudra region? It seems possible. I wonder what rank he is on the hidden dragon rank. Most of the people who came to the Snake Island on the boat were warriors, and some of them were clasping Yuan realm warriors. They knew very well that facing a full power attack from the 3-headed snake, even late clasping Yuan realm warriors would be killed, not to mention them. That was why they admired Yi Chen so much. The 3-headed snake was a 3-headed snake after all, and it also had the bloodline of an ancient beast. Even after being hit by Yi Chen's lone peak kill, it still had a powerful attacking power. That huge tail stood up from the back of the boat, seeming like it was going to shatter the boat. Sky-shattering clouds. Yi Chen would not allow it to be so arrogant. He lifted up his Star sword and threw out a sword attack. Boom! The three-headed snake did not have the time to attack. Its huge body was shot out along the surface of the lake. It was blown hundreds of meters away within a second. The head in the middle was covered in blood, and there was a deep sword mark on its hard upper jaw. It had almost cut its head in half. Shoo! Performing his separating shadow flying art with all his power, Yi Chen's legs bounced slightly. His body lengthened in the air, and he arrived above the three-headed snake within a second. He was about to wound the three-headed snake with one attack when a beam of light shot over from the horizon. A clear voice came out of her mouth, "Please show some mercy." With a slight hesitation, Yi Chen flashed backward, backing out hundreds of meters. Soon, a beautiful figure appeared in the sky behind the three-headed snake. What was surprising was that she had slowly landed on the left head of the three-headed snake. It was a teenage girl, about 17 or 18 years old. She was at the early clasping Yuan realm. Just like Wang Snake, she was wearing black clothes. However, there were gold threads sewn on the edges of her clothes, which made her look decent. Together with her cold and beautiful face and beautiful body, she gave people a mysterious black vibe. He did not know if it was just his imagination, but he sensed an aura that was similar to Wang Snake's. It was the same kind of aura that had been passed down from generation to generation. It was cold and horrifying, a pressure that came from the deepest part of the soul. "Is this snake yours?" Yi Chen asked. The girl in black said, "Sorry, I did not manage to control it and let it get out." Yi Chen said again, "Your family name is Wang. How did you know?" The girl in black looked a little confused. "There is a Wang on this ship as well. He seems to be from the same family as you." The girl in black paused a little, then thought of something. "He is from the Wang family of the Black Dragon Empire, right? Bring him out for me to see." "Not yet. Not everyone in the Wang family wants him to come here." Although the Star Region Lake Wang family was mysterious, it did not mean that it was powerful. According to Uncle Ju, the Star Region Lake Wang family was only a rank 9 family, which was nothing in the Windy Nation. Normally, rank 9 families would not have astral-reaching realm warriors. Only rank 8 families or martial institutions would have astral-reaching realm warriors, unless this Star Region Lake Wang family was like the Sky Cloud Martial School, which had been attacked by a powerful enemy and was badly damaged. With Yi Chen's current cultivation and power, he really did not need to be afraid of a rank 9 family. The girl in black was more afraid of Yi Chen's power. She knew the power of the three-headed snake better than anyone. Even peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warriors would not be its opponent. However, it had lost so badly in Yi Chen's hands. If she had not arrived in time, she might have been killed by him. The disciples of the Wang family of the Black Dragon Empire were under his protection. Those people in the family should not be able to do anything. "My name is Wang Mai. I am sorry about the three-headed snake. I will take it away now." Wang Mai took out a few bottles of powder from her storage ring and sprinkled it on the wounded parts of the snake. "Help yourself." Flashing his body, Yi Chen returned to the ship. After the girl in black and the three-headed snake left, the ship continued to sail. However, the atmosphere on the ship was getting more and more lively. The three-headed snake had appeared, Yi Chen had beaten it back, and the owner of the three-headed snake had appeared. All of this had shocked and amazed them. Wang Snake watched the girl in black leave. The blood in the deepest part of his body started to boil, and he could not suppress it anymore. Yi Chen clearly sensed that Wang Snake's qi had gotten stronger. His soul power went through his clothes, and he could see the snake tattoo blinking once. Chapter 229. 5 Mountain Condensing Forms. Condense. Inside the not too spacious but very nice and comfortable bedroom, Yi Chen slowly reached out his right hand and tightened his grip. A bright yellow light shot out of his fist, twisting and shrinking like crazy. Eventually, it formed into a bright yellow mountain shadow. A heavy aura poured out, covering the whole bedroom. Dispersing the mountain shadow, Yi Chen let out a breath. "I have finally trained the first movement of the 5 mountain condensing forms to completion. Now, I can train the second and third movements." Although each movement of the 5-mountain godly fist art was more powerful than the previous one, in terms of difficulty, the first movement would be the hardest. If the first movement was not trained well, then the next 4 movements would be more powerful. Once the first movement was trained to its limit, then the next 4 movements would be even more powerful. With the 5-mountain godly fist art combined with my physical power, I would not be afraid of high-rank Earth realm martial skills in close combat. Body training martial arts were very rare in the true spirit continent. There were a lot of Earth realm martial arts in the Skycloud Martial School, but the most powerful ones were only high-rank mortal realm. Most of the other martial institutions did not even have Earth realm body training martial arts. It was because of luck that Yi Chen was able to find a low-rank Earth realm pure jade body boosting spell. It was because of luck that he had found it. And it was this pure jade body boosting spell that made him rise up. Ever since he had trained the 5th movement of the spell to the King Kong body boosting spell, Yi Chen's physical power had doubled. It was now close to 50,000 pounds of power, which was horrifying among warriors at the same level. Combined with the 5-mountain godly fist art, he would indeed not be afraid of high-rank Earth realm martial skills. Boom! Boom! A knocking sound was heard, and Wang Snake's voice was heard. "Brother Yi, we are almost at the Snake Island." "Oh, I will be right there." Tidying up his clothes, Yi Chen walked out of the bedroom. On the deck of the ship, Yi Chen lifted his head and looked over. In his sight, an island that was wide at the bottom and narrow at the top fell into his sight. The island was like a snake, with 4 floors. The first floor was the dock, with tons of boats docked next to it. People were coming and going, making it very lively. The second and third floor were a lot of civilian buildings, such as hotels, restaurants, shops, and a lot of houses. As for the 4th floor, it was its own world, which was a huge villa. In the middle of the villa, there was a weirdly shaped mountain, which was the highest part of the island. The Wang family of the Star region Lake Shore has it easy. Yi Chen estimated that this Snake Island had a radius of hundreds of miles. Being able to occupy the whole island and the huge lake area around it, the Wang family was obviously a tyrant in the surrounding area. It was also Wang Snake's first time coming to the Snake Island in the Star region lake. He said in surprise, "This is indeed the main family. It is much more impressive than the Wang family in my Black Ridge city." Yi Chen said, "Once you get to the Snake Island, they probably would not dare to kill you out in the open. But, you can never be too careful." "Yi, brother is realm, mountain," Yi said. "Yi. Mountain," Yi Chen said. Yi Chen chuckled. As for what kind of power the Wang family wanted Wang Snake to inherit, it would be a lie if he said he was not curious about it. After all, with his knowledge, he really did not know what kind of power could be inherited directly, without having to accumulate it bit by bit and train hard. The boat. The boat of the boat. And the boat. From the first floor to the second floor, there were 8 doors. Each door was dozens of meters tall and 20 meters wide. Connecting the doors was a high flight of stairs. Once you reached the top, you would reach the second floor. From the second floor to the third floor, there were 4 doors. The people who entered were all wealthy merchants or powerful warriors. There were not many normal people. Outside the only door from the 3rd floor to the 4th floor, Yi Chen pointed at the luxurious restaurant in front of him and said, "I will stay in this restaurant nearby. If you have any news about the Blood Sunflower, you can come and let me know. If I am not here, you can ask the 2nd generation to send the news." Uncle Ju said gratefully, "Warrior Yi, don't worry. I will try my best. Brother Yi, we will go up first." Wang Snake was also very grateful. Without Yi Chen, they would not have been able to arrive at the Snake Island safely. He would never forget this kindness. Yi Chen nodded. After saying goodbye to Yi Chen, the 2 of them arrived at the door. After being verified by the guards, someone went up to inform them. After a while, a middle-aged man with a high status came down to welcome the 2. Seeing them enter the door without any problems, Yi Chen looked away and walked into the restaurant. On the 3rd floor of the restaurant next door, 2 people were standing on the balcony, looking down. One of them was short and skinny, only half the height of a human. He looked to be around 60 years old, and he had a dangerous vibe. The other one was tall and slim, with white skin and cold eyes. He was a young man in his 20s. Ping, Elder Mo, and Master Liu failed. The short elder said with a hoarse voice. The young man sneered, useless trash. You can't even do this. The short elder touched his chin and chuckled. My bloodline density is 5-headed snake. Adding him, the 2 spots for entering the forbidden place are already filled. Ping, what do you want to do? Hearing him, the young man looked angry. Although he was the young master of the Wang family, his bloodline density was only 4-headed snake. If it was before, he would definitely be one of the 2 people who could enter the forbidden place. But today, there were 2 people with 5-headed snake bloodline density. How could he not be angry? He knew very well what kind of benefits it would bring to inheriting the bloodline power. The forbidden place of the Wang family opened once every 50 years. Last time, it was his big grandpa and his 3rd grandaunt who went in. It was said that they were late condensing reality realm warriors before they went in, but after they came out, they had reached the early clasping Yuan realm. Because of the bloodline power, they could fight beyond their cultivation, which made them invincible. There are still 10 days before the forbidden place opens. Within these 10 days, try your best to kill him. As long as there is no solid proof, even if the others know that I did it, they will not do anything to me. After all, the dead are dead, and the living have to continue living. The young man said with a cruel tone. The short elder glanced at the restaurant next door and said with an evil tone, that young man came with them. He is not weak. 4th grandpa, I do not want to see this person ever again. Don't worry. Even if you don't say it, I will kill him. Plus, your 3rd grandaunt is against this as well. She wants you to enter the forbidden place. He is only a branch family disciple, and he wants to inherit the bloodline power of the main family. He is just looking for death. The young man laughed viciously. In the Wang family, not everyone agreed with the branch family disciples entering the forbidden place. At least, the 3rd grandaunt, who had a high reputation, supported him. The night came slowly. In the guest room of the restaurant, Yi Chen flipped through the 5 mountain godly fist art, trying to learn the 2nd movement. On the long hallway outside the door, a waiter walked over with a tray of food. All of a sudden, a short figure stood in front of him and signaled for him to keep quiet. The waiter looked at the person and shouted in a low voice, 4th grandpa, why are you here? The short shadow was indeed the short elder who stayed with the young man during the day. He was also the 4th brother of the leader of the Wang family. He warned, talk normally later. You don't have to worry about anything else. I understand. The waiter was nervous. Looking at the 4th grandpa, he was afraid that he was going to attack the guest in the guest room. However, he was only a normal waiter living on the Snake Island. He wouldn't dare to say anything, so he would just do what he was told. Arriving at the guest room where Yi Chen was staying, the waiter lightly knocked on the door. Young warrior, the food and drinks are here for you. Come in. Yi Chen's voice came out. Crack. Pushing the door open, the waiter walked in with fear. The short elder was almost stuck in the waiter's shadow. If one didn't look carefully, one wouldn't be able to see anything. Put down the food and drink, go over there and ask him if he needs anything else. The short elder's voice was condensed into a single line and poured into the waiter's ears. The waiter complained in his mind. He trembled and walked out of the bedroom. Young warrior, what else do you need? No need. Yi Chen was still immersed in his study. Shoo. Right at this moment, the short elder jumped out of the shadow. He raised his hand, and 3 huge black snakes formed from Zhenqi jumped out, attacking towards Yi Chen from a tricky angle. Putting away the manual, Yi Chen tilted his head and sneered, I have been waiting for you. Break. He threw out a punch, and a bright yellow mountain shadow appeared. All of a sudden, a heavy and aggressive aura covered the entire guest room, attacking towards the short elder. Boom. The huge restaurant shook violently, and the huge black snakes disappeared. Kid, you have some moves. The short elder grinned. Both of his hands were waving in the air. Countless huge black snakes appeared out of nowhere and surrounded Yi Chen, forming a horrifying snake formation. Separate. Yi Chen's body shook, and his shadow started to move. His real body had already broken through the encirclement and appeared in front of the short elder. At the same time, a horrifying fist also appeared. So fast. The short elder was shocked. He set up layers of Jin Qi barriers in front of him. In the middle of the barriers, there was a snake-shaped Qi flow, rolling and spinning. Boom, boom, boom. The Jin Qi barriers were like paper. Under Yi Chen's punch, they were broken layer by layer. In the end, it was stopped by the short elder's arms. However, even though he was able to stop it, that horrifying mountain-like power still hit him, blowing him away. Crack. The wall was broken, and the short elder was blown out onto the street outside of the restaurant. Shoo. Extending his body, Yi Chen chased after him. Inside the broken guest room, the waiter's face was pale. Oh no, this is bad. If something happens to the fourth master in the restaurant, I will be the one to suffer. The third floor of the Snake Island was very crowded. Even at night, it was still noisy, and the lights were still on. The short elder broke through the wall and landed on the street awkwardly. God knows how many people were startled, including the patrolling warriors of the Wang family. Fourth master, what happened to you? Who dares to mess around on the Snake Island? Surround this place. To be able to blow the fourth master away, he must be very powerful. We should inform the powerful warriors of the Wang family and ask them to attack together and kill this person. The few patrolling warriors nearby had just started to move when Yi Chen, who was wearing blue robes, jumped over, throwing out a punch towards the short elder. That heavy and brutal fist aura seemed to have frozen the entire space. The bright yellow mountain shadow expanded rapidly, covering the elder who was panicking and trying to kill him with one punch. Chapter 230. Brat, how dare you kill the fourth master of the Wang family on the Snake Island? Do you want to die? Fourth master, let's work together to kill him so that we don't get into any trouble. Kill. As a rank 9 family, the Wang family controlled the Snake Island and the surrounding lake area. Naturally, a lot of powerful warriors came to the Wang family to become guest masters or guests. Right then, seeing that the fourth master of the Wang family was in danger, 3 arrogant late-clasping Yuan realm warriors jumped out immediately, blocking in front of Yi Chen. The combined power of 3 late-clasping Yuan realm warriors was unimaginably powerful. Plus, Yi Chen was in the air, so he could not borrow any power. Therefore, his fist power had not reached its limit yet. Therefore, it had been blocked by the 3. Of course, the 3 of them did not have it easy either. They had backed out 7 to 8 steps, shattering the hard stone floor. Such a powerful fist power. This guy is dangerous. The 3 looked at each other with a serious look. Seeing that help had arrived, the short elder looked proud. He pointed at Yi Chen and yelled, "This man came to our Wang family's Snake Island with bad intentions. After being interrogated by me, he tried to kill me to keep my mouth shut. He really does not respect the Wang family and the Snake Island at all." Hearing him, one of them had a bad look on his face. "Although you are powerful, this is the Snake Island. You cannot do whatever you want here. I suggest you just give up and go to the Wang family to ask for forgiveness. Indeed, if you give up, we can spare your life. Young man, you are so powerful at such a young age. Why do you want to die? I have a Jin Qi suppressing pellet here. If you take it, I can save your life." Landing in the middle of the street, Yi Chen sneered, "Today, you will all die." If the Wang family was a rank 8 family with an astral-reaching realm warrior, Yi Chen might be a bit scared and run away right after killing them. But a rank 9 family did not have the power to keep him here. In his eyes, the short elder and the 3 were already dead. The short elder yelled, arrogant, "Wait until you fall into my hands, you will have to suffer a lot. Remember, there are some things that you cannot say." Really? Stepping on the ground, Yi Chen's fist aura increased to an unprecedented level. His body flashed as he performed the first movement of the 5-mountain godly fist art, the 5-mountain consolidation, directly attacking the 4 of them. Ka lolo. The street couldn't withstand the heavy fist pressure. With Yi Chen as the starting point, it started to crack layer by layer. Some of the weaker martial artists were originally standing on both sides of the street, watching. Under the astonishing fist pressure, they couldn't help but fall into the buildings behind them. Screams and shouts could be heard everywhere. Mountain-shattering spear. Wave-cleaving blade of Tsungjiang. Tiger soul monarch Fis. Snake king, come out of the cave. Facing Yi Chen's punch, the short, skinny, middle-aged man and the other three did not dare to be negligent. They all displayed their best skills and joined forces to resist Yi Chen. Rumble. A terrifying shockwave erupted on the street. The buildings on both sides of the street were covered in cracks and collapsed with a loud bang. Gravel splashed in all directions, covering a radius of several hundred meters. Run. Ah. What the fuck is going on? Late clasping Yuan realm martial artists fighting in a crowded area would definitely be a disaster for most of the people. The good thing was that most of the people on the third floor of the Snake Island were not weak martial artists. Some of the rich businessmen also had the protection of powerful martial artists. Therefore, there weren't too many casualties. Pooh. Among the four of them, the two weaker ones puked out blood mist. Yi Chen, who was standing on the ground, was way too horrifying. That fist attack looked normal and did not have any scary sound or light effects, but it was like it contained a mountain. It had not only shattered the attacks of the four of them, it had also wounded the four of them. The short elder and the other one were not feeling well either. Their faces looked a bit pale. You three, please wait for a bit longer. Powerful warriors from our Wang family will be here soon. By then, killing this brat will be as easy as blowing off dust. The short elder tried to cheer them up. The three thought about it and agreed. This was the Snake Island, which was under the control of the Wang family. How could they let Yi Chen be so arrogant? As long as the powerful warriors arrived, things would be much easier. Plus, they had the power to protect the fourth master of the Wang family, so they would definitely be rewarded. The first one. After wounding 4 people with one punch, Yi Chen's body stretched out as he shot out. Kill. Don't let him get close. The 4 of them did not care about their wounds anymore. They combined their powers and shot out a wave of powerful chi. Separate. Performing his separating shadow flying art, human shadows flashed everywhere. Yi Chen's real body flew out of the chi wave and arrived in front of the one on the left. Ah. I am the guest warrior of the Wang family. How dare you kill me? It was indeed the one who had cursed the most before. Right then, he was facing Yi Chen. His mind was broken, and he tried his best to fight back, trying to survive. Boom. Without any hesitation, Yi Chen punched out his opponent's head. That heavy fist power had shattered the red and white brain matter, turning it into nothingness. The second one. Yi Chen looked at the other one. Being stared at by Yi Chen, that person looked even worse. He yelled, "You crazy monster. You killed innocent people. You will die a horrible death." Yi Chen did not waste any time. There was no need to waste time talking to dead people. He would just kill them. As for the consequences, he could handle it. Crack. That person's waist had been broken, and his body had been cut in half. The first movement of the 5-mountain godly fist art was getting better and better in Yi Chen's hands. Added with his almost 50,000 pounds of physical strength, a late clasping Yuan realm warrior would not be able to handle one punch from him. He might not even be able to handle half of it. And that was only the first movement. If he could learn the second and third movement, it would be even more powerful. The third one. Before his voice had even arrived, Yi Chen had already arrived. His right fist had been thrown out at a speed that was a couple of times faster than the speed of sound. That bright yellow light was like lightning in the vacuum. This person was not weak, and could be counted as an experienced late clasping Yuan realm warrior. However, he had run into Yi Chen. Under that heavy and brutal fist power, all kinds of defenses were useless. He tried to block it with his arms, but they were broken. His protective Jin Qi layer exploded, but it was shattered. Pooh. Before the fist even landed, a huge hole appeared on his chest. Pieces of flesh spilled out of his mouth, and blood rained down from the sky. With a shake of his body, the blood rain had been pushed away. Yi Chen was still perfectly untouched. How is this possible? 3 late clasping Yuan realm warriors. They could not even handle one punch from him. They were all killed easily. The third one who died was called the Tsungjiang blade artist. I saw him kill a rank 6 beast with one blade attack. He was quite famous in the Tsungjiang area, but even he could not compete with him. What a shame. He was so powerful at such a young age. He would definitely shine in the future. But the powerful warriors of the Wang family would not let him go easily. Indeed, the Wang family has two powerful warriors. One is the current leader, and the other is the current leader's third sister. Both of them are known to be invincible within the same realm. There are barely any clasping Yuan realm warriors who could compete with them. As long as one of them comes out, this guy would not be able to escape. Things are getting more and more interesting. Let's watch from afar, in case the Wang family gets angry at us. Hundreds of meters in radius had turned into a no man's land. Hundreds of meters away, a lot of warriors had gathered together, discussing among themselves. Almost no one was optimistic about Yi Chen's chances. Hearing everyone's words, Yi Chen sneered. Invincible within the same realm? You are looking down on all the warriors in the world too much. Invincible within the same realm is not that easy to say. Only clasping Yuan realm warriors who could compete with early astral reaching realm warriors could be called invincible within the same realm. His eyes landed on the last person, the short elder. Yi Chen said, "Do you want to know it yourself, or do I have to kill you myself? How dare you?" The short elder was furious. "Then, I have to kill you myself." Yi Chen shook his head. His body flashed as he jumped towards the elder. 100 snake cage. The short elder was extremely anxious. He was afraid that he would not be able to wait for the Wang family warriors to arrive. In the face of death, he pushed all of his Jin Qi to its limit, forming countless huge black snakes in a 5-meter radius around his body. The snakes coiled around each other, their heads and tails connected, forming a defensive snake spell. Even with that, the elder's body shook, and a layer of black light layer appeared out of his body. It was the protective Jin Qi layer that had been enhanced by a low-rank defensive weapon. Even people with higher cultivation than him would have a hard time breaking through it. After doing all that, the short elder had calmed down a bit. He did not think that Yi Chen would be able to break through 2 layers of defense in a short period of time. As long as he could drag it out for a while, he would be able to last until the Wang family warriors arrived. Crack! A fist shattered all of his thoughts. The defensive snake spell had been shattered by Yi Chen's 5-mountain godly fist art. It had been shattered immediately, and then the light layer that had been enhanced by the low-rank weapon had been shattered as well, making a loud noise. "How dare you kill my fourth brother? Today will be the day you die." Right then, an old female voice was heard. The cruelty in that voice had chilled a lot of people's hearts, making them take a step back unconsciously. "The third lady of the Wang family is here," someone yelled. Yi Chen did not seem to have heard the warning. He increased his fist power by 30%, landing on the short elder's chest. Crack! The low-rank defensive weapon was extremely hard. With Yi Chen's attack power, he would not be able to break through it. However, it did not mean that the short elder would be able to escape death. That horrifying fist power had been transmitted through the low-rank defensive weapon. Even though it had been weakened by 20 to 30%, it was still extremely powerful. Only a bone-cracking sound could be heard as the short elder's body twisted and exploded, turning into countless pieces of flesh. The incoming person was extremely fast, arriving on the street within a second. It was an old lady in her 60s, wearing luxurious clothes. Her face was wrinkled, and seeing what had happened, the killing intent on her body shot up. She said word by word, "Today, you will die for sure. No one will be able to save you." A shocking scene occurred. Behind her, a black stream of air surged and quickly formed a huge 3-headed snake phantom. The 3-headed snake was vivid and lifelike. Each of its scales was the size of a fist and shone with a cold light. The 6 snake eyes were red, like red gems in the dark night, without the slightest emotion. Hiss! Hiss! The snake's tongue flicked in and out. The 3-headed snake did not give people the feeling that it was made from Jin Qi, but a living beast. A horrifying qi spread out in the air. 3-headed snake. Yi Chen frowned slightly. He had sensed a hidden qi from her that was similar to Wang's snake and Wang Mai's. It was an ancient qi that could shake souls. No wonder she was known to be invincible among all the clasping Yuan realm warriors. Will you break your own limbs and let me take you back to the Wang family to be punished, or will I capture you myself and let you suffer the most painful torture in the world? The third lady of the Wang family stared at Yi Chen as if she was looking at a dead man. Her eyes were filled with evil and killing intent. Chapter 231. Sorry, I will not choose either. He was not interested in the low-rank defensive weapon that was covered in sticky meat. Yi Chen let it fall on the ground, making a crisp sound. He slowly turned his body around, facing the opponent. I promise you, you will die a horrible death. The old lady was called Wang Fang, one of the top 2 warriors of the Wang family. Her power was only below the leader of the family, who was also her brother. For all these years, besides the big things, the leader of the family was in charge of everything else, which created her arrogant personality. People on the Snake Island were even more afraid of her than the leader of the Wang family. Right then, hearing her, her face twisted instantly, and the 3-headed snake shadow behind her started to hiss loudly. Shoo! Her body disappeared, and Wang Fang appeared in front of Yi Chen with an extremely shocking speed, throwing out a palm attack. So fast. Even faster than Wu Liangyu. His nerves had not gotten used to this kind of speed yet, so Yi Chen threw out his 5-mountain godly fist art instinctively. All of a sudden, a brutal black palm power shot out of Wang Fang's palm, spreading out in a small fan shape, cutting off layers of the ground. Being in the center of the explosion, Yi Chen had to back out for dozens of steps before he could completely cancel out the power. Die. After blowing away Yi Chen with one palm attack, Wang Fang had the thought that Yi Chen was only SOSO. Her aura burned like fire as she threw out a palm attack that was even more powerful than before, shaking the entire air. Chin. There was a dazzling sword light shining, and the sharp sword will spread out at an extremely fast speed, cutting through the void. In this silent void, the clearly visible half-moon sword Qi shattered the piece, as if it had shattered a mirror, and flew out with an unstoppable momentum. Pooh! The palm power had been torn apart, and the sword Qi had been shattered as well. Sword artists. Wang Fang frowned. In her mind, only people with sword intent could be called sword artists. Obviously, Yi Chen was one of them. It's a pity that another swordsman is going to die today. Wang Fang sneered. In front of absolute power, the so-called sword intent was just a joke. Yi Chen's potential had strengthened her determination to kill him. Without the slightest hesitation, Wang Fang operated her Jin Qi. Both of her hands turned into countless phantoms, and clapped in the air. One after another, black palm power spread out in a fan shape, almost covering half of the street. To be exact, it covered the area hundreds of meters in front of her, because in the process, the street was rapidly collapsing. Sky-shattering clouds. Facing that wave of palm power, Yi Chen lifted up his Starscar sword and threw out a sword attack. Boom! The palm force split apart. When the sword struck out, it was as though there was a tall mountain erected in front of it, an eternal reef, unmoving. Break. Following the tide-like palm power, Wang Fang flew over and slammed her palm on the intangible sword Qi. The mountain was broken and the reef was crushed. This old lady is indeed powerful. She is definitely not a normal peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm warrior. The sword momentum collapsed, and Yi Chen struck out with his sword again. Wang Fang was like a hot knife cutting through butter. She threw out one palm attack after another. The 3-headed snake shadow behind her seemed to have added endless power and power to her. Separate. Leaving a Zhenqi shadow where he was standing, Yi Chen turned his feet and cut to the right side of Wang Fang. He threw out a sword attack, the sword light blurring. Ting. The lone peak kill, which had always been successful, had been blocked out. It was the 3-headed snake shadow behind Wang Fang's back. One of the snake heads reached down and blocked out that sword attack of Yi Chen's. The Starscar sword stabbed in 3 inches, and Yi Chen immediately backed out. The next second, the ground started to shake intensely. The 3-headed snake shadow's tail fell from the sky, rocks flying everywhere. Wang Fang turned her body and said with a hideous look, Has no one told you that among warriors at the same level, my brother and I are unbeatable? Not necessarily. The 12th movement, combination. His body looked like he was backing out, but he was actually moving forward. Yi Chen dodged the attack of the three-headed snake shadow. The star-scar sword shone with a dark starlight as it stabbed towards his opponent's body, ignoring the distance between them. One had to admit that the three-headed snake shadow was way too powerful. Before Wang Fang could react, it had reacted first. One of its heads bumped onto the star-scar sword. Swoosh! The star-scar sword that had lost its aim did not manage to pierce into Wang Fang's vital organs. It landed on her shoulder, and the sword chi went through, leaving a deep sword hole on the ground behind her. What? Wang Fang looked at her wounded shoulder in disbelief. I wonder if you can dodge the next sword attack. His body flipped in the air. Yi Chen landed on a broken wall, looking down from above. Don't get carried away. You will not be able to break through my defense again. Wang Fang bit on her teeth. With both of her hands up and down, she pushed out a beam of black light wave towards Yi Chen. The attacking range of the light wave was huge, and it was accompanied by a hint of soul pressure. The sword intent had cut through the pressure on the soul. Yi Chen's toes touched the broken wall and shot into the sky. 6 Zhen Qi shadows appeared in the air, attacking Wang Fang from different angles. This is the real body. The three-headed snake shadow had its reaction range. Within this range, without Wang Fang's control, it could automatically defend and attack. Seeing through the real body, its long tail swung over. It is useless even if you see through it. Lone peak kill. Yi Chen was already hiding in the Zhen Qi shadows. When the tail swung over, his real body jumped out, brushing past the three-headed snake shadow's tail and stabbing into Wang Fang's shoulder. It was not that he did not want to hit her vital organs, but the three-headed snake shadow's reaction was way too fast, and there were enough snake heads. 2 snake heads attacked together, which made Yi Chen deviate a little bit. His killing sword attack had turned into a full power attack. Blood splashed out, and Wang Fang almost fainted from anger. She threw out both of her palms crazily, and the black palm power spread out like crazy. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Changing his back route a couple of times, Yi Chen managed to back out to a safe distance. His eyebrows slightly frowned. That three-headed snake shadow did not disappear, so it would be very hard for him to kill her. It might even be impossible. Plus, the reason why he was able to get the upper hand was because he had learned the lone peak kill again. He had combined the 12th movement into it, which increased his power and speed drastically. Otherwise, it would still be unknown if he could break through her defense. No wonder he dares to call himself invincible within the same realm. It is not just a rumor. Right now, I have almost figured out one thing. Behind her back was a 3-headed snake shadow, while Wang Snake had a 5-headed snake tattoo on his body. If he were to inherit the power, then he would have activated the 5-headed snake tattoo and created a horrifying 5-headed snake shadow. If the 3-headed snake shadow was already this powerful, then the 5-headed snake shadow would be even more powerful. This should be the reason why the top management of the Wang family had sent a disciple from a branch family to inherit the power. They had their eyes on Wang Snake's potential. Yi Chen had a clear mind. Although he did not know what kind of power Wang Snake was going to inherit, he had already figured out the form of the power. Once Wang Snake succeeded in inheriting the power and activated the 5-headed snake shadow, he might actually become an invincible warrior within the same realm. All of a sudden, the mysteriousness of the Wang family had caught Yi Chen's interest. It was not something that a rank 9 family should have. Black snake shadow chasing wave. Yi Chen frequently dodged the attacks, which had aroused Wang Fang's anger. She took a deep breath, and a black light appeared on her body. At the same time, one of the 3-headed snake shadow disappeared, as if the power of the snake head had all merged into her body. Along with the increase of her Zhen Qi, Wang Fang used up all of her fist power and threw out a palm attack towards Yi Chen. Crack! The ground was cracking, and the Qi power was like a snake. Yi Chen realized that his speed was almost being overtaken by the snake-shaped Qi power. He hurried to perform the ultimate skill of the separating shadow flying art, shadow explosion. All of a sudden, hundreds of human shadows exploded like a blooming daffodil, extremely fast. Puff 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 puff. The snake-shaped chi power quickly traveled among the human shadows, destroying them one after another. After about half of the human shadows had been destroyed, it finally scattered and exploded, destroying another 10 human shadows. After narrowly avoiding the explosion, Yi Chen did not stop and shot towards Wang Fang. On the way, Yi Chen sensed the danger and decided to back out. Within a couple of blinks of an eye, a chi that was similar to Wang Fang, but much more powerful than her, covered the entire sky. The onlookers cried out in surprise. It is the leader of the Wang family, Wang Heng. He finally showed up. The third lady of the Wang family is in danger, and the leader of the Wang family did not show up. It would be unreasonable. But that brat is so powerful. He had wounded the third lady of the Wang family twice in a row. This has never happened before. Look, that brat backed out. Did he know that the leader of the Wang family would show up? In a one-on-one battle, Yi Chen would not back out. Even if he could not win, he could still run. After all, there were no astral-reaching realm warriors in the Wang family, and they would not be able to stop him. However, Wang Fang was already powerful enough, and with an even more powerful warrior, it would be unwise for him to stay. His body flashed, and Yi Chen disappeared from everyone's sight. Woo! A huge wind blew, and a human figure landed in front of Wang Fang. It was an elder in his 70s. What was surprising was that there was also a shadow behind the old man, but this shadow was not a 3-headed snake, but a 4-headed snake. Its body was even bigger than the 3-headed snake behind Wang Fang, and its aura was even more intense. The moment he landed, the surrounding air became still, and there were no ripples. Fang, what is wrong with you? How did you turn this place into this? The elder was not happy. Wang Fang said angrily, that brat had killed our fourth brother. I will skin him alive. Our fourth brother has been killed. What is going on? The elder had never liked this fourth brother of his. Not only did he protect Wang Ping, but he also dared to go against him. Did he not know that he was doing this for the Wang family? Only with a high enough density of the bloodline would they be able to produce more powerful warriors. The so-called main family and branch family would be too stupid. More importantly, once the density of the bloodline reached the 5-headed snake level, it would be possible to evolve into a 6-headed snake bloodline. One 6-headed snake bloodline would be more valuable than 10 4-headed ones. It was also the reason why he had given up on his eldest grandson and picked a member of the branch family. If the Wang family wanted to rise again and recover its former glory, they could not be too shallow. Of course, his fourth brother was still his fourth brother. Now that he had been killed, the elder would not be able to just sit back and do nothing. The night was getting darker, and the moonlight was getting dimmer. On an uninhabited island in the Star Regional Lake, Yi Chen had found a suitable place for training. Taking out the sword-shaped plant and the Battle Emperor's sword from his storage ring, Yi Chen thought to himself, my sword intent has reached 50% for a long time, and it has already stabilized. It is time to use you guys. Chapter 232. The fourth layer of the Snake Island. In the hall of the villa. Brother, you are the only one on the Snake Island who can kill that brat. You have to help fourth brother. Wang Fang said hurriedly. Wang Heng felt helpless and angry at the same time. I have already heard about what happened to our fourth brother. I have to say, he was looking for death himself. He tried to assassinate someone else for no reason. Facing this kind of thing, any clasping Yuan realm warrior would be furious. But since he had killed our fourth brother, I can't just sit back and do nothing. Otherwise, how would people from the Snake Island think of our Wang family? Under Wang Heng's strict interrogation, Wang Ping told everything that had happened. Of course, he hid the relationship between Yi Chen and Wang Shi. He said that it was purely because Yi Chen was suspicious, so the fourth master went to investigate. Although Wang Heng was old, his intelligence hadn't deteriorated. He could tell the truth with just one glance. After locking Wang Ping up, he sent people to investigate the cause and effect. They found out that Wang Shi was sent to the Snake Island by Yi Chen. Because of this, Wang Ping and his fourth brother planned to kill him secretly. However, They didn't expect that Yi Chen's power was beyond their expectation. Instead, his fourth brother died. Wang Fang felt it was unfair and said, "Big brother, what are you going to do?" Wang Heng said, "This matter is fourth brother's fault. Just break one of his arms." "What? Only one of his arms? Didn't fourth brother die for nothing?" Wang Fang screamed, as if she couldn't believe Wang Heng's decision. Wang Heng yelled, "If it wasn't for you blindly protecting them, fourth brother wouldn't have died. Speaking of which, you have to bear the greatest responsibility. Your punishment is to be confined for a year, and you are not allowed to manage the family's affairs." Wang Fang was stunned. Wang Heng rarely got angry at her, and even if he did, it would not be so obvious. Right now, under the pressure of the opponent's aura, she could not even control the power of her bloodline. That was a pressure that came from the soul, ignoring the difference in power between both sides. She swallowed the words that she was about to say. Wang Heng did not look at her anymore. He ordered people to track Yi Chen. As long as he was still around the Snake Island, he would definitely be found. If he could not be found, it meant that he had left, and there was nothing he could do. After thinking for a while, Wang Heng said, "Track down this person. Do not act rashly. Inform me immediately." "Yes." The elders in charge of this matter received the order and left. The uninhabited island was no more than 10 miles in circumference, and there was not even a blade of grass growing on it. What was surprising was that in the southeastern region of the island, there was a small valley. Above the valley, there was a waterfall that flowed down, pouring into the pool below with loud rumbling sounds. Yi Chen stood motionless on the flat ground in the valley, looking at the opposite rock wall. This stone wall was different from ordinary stone walls because there was a sword mark on it. The sword mark was 9 feet long, narrow and sharp, filled with powerful sword intent. This sword intent seemed to be able to pierce through one's heart and slay one's soul, wanting to break out of the wall. The sword intent had been there for a long time. It had not dissipated since the night before yesterday. Moreover, because of the sword intent, the area where the sword mark was made was particularly hard. Normally, Yi Chen could poke a hole in it with a light finger, but now, he could only leave a shallow mark. And this sword mark was indeed made by the Battle Emperor's sword. When the sword-shaped plant got close to the Battle Emperor's sword, the sword intent inside the plant immediately merged into the sword. Holding the sword in his hand, Yi Chen's sword intent exploded. He threw out a sword attack onto the rock wall, leaving a sword intent that had been there for a long time. As the sun passed the middle of the sky, Yi Chen suddenly woke up. What a powerful sword intent! It made me sink into it, unable to pull myself out. I had completely forgotten about the time. Yi Chen mumbled to himself. As Yi Chen mumbled to himself, the sword intent on the sword mark disappeared in the wind. A bit of sword intent can only last for 2 days. It is completely incomparable to the 500-years-old sword intent in the natural moat gorge. But in comparison, a bit of sword intent would be better. The sword intent in the gorge is way too aggressive, it could even kill an astral-reaching realm warrior's life force. Even if I go there, it would not be a good result. If the sword intent is completed, I could go there and find the last piece of the Battle Emperor's sword. Although he could not pull himself out, once there was danger, Yi Chen would still be able to force himself to wake up. Just then, he had sensed that the sword intent was about to disappear, so he woke up automatically. As for the time, it had indeed passed very fast for him, since it was the Battle Emperor's sword intent. He was more or less addicted to it. Sensing the level of his sword intent, Yi Chen smiled. He had already reached 60% sword intent. One sword-shaped plant had helped him learn 10% of the sword intent, which seemed to be more than enough. He was not that far away from 70% sword intent. He wondered if the second sword-shaped plant could help him reach 70%, or even 80%, or even close. With 80% sword intent, his attacking power would increase drastically, reaching a level that even he himself would not be able to control. It would get harder and harder to learn the sword intent, and the further one progressed, the more the attacking power would be. Back in the auction house in the Gold Tripod City, that astral-reaching realm warrior had unintentionally released his sword intent. It should not have reached completion yet, but that chilling sharp intent could cover the whole place, and it could kill a clasping Yuan realm warrior's life force and soul at any moment. Taking out the second sword-shaped plant, Yi Chen did not need to control it himself. A bit of sword intent shot out of it automatically, merging with the broken Battle Emperor's sword. Cut. The sword intent shot out again as Yi Chen threw out a sword attack onto the rock wall. Swoosh. A new sword mark appeared, and the horrifying sword intent spread out, lingering for a long time. Putting away the Battle Emperor's sword, Yi Chen looked at the sword mark. His sword intent poured out, clashing with the sword intent on the sword mark, trying to understand the mysteries within. The sun was setting, and the sun was rising. Time was flying fast. Hundreds of miles away from the uninhabited island, two silhouettes flew over. Our family warriors had sensed the intense sword intent outside of this island. It should be here, Wang Heng said to Wang Fang, who was standing right next to him. Wang Fang said with a cruel voice, "Let's see where he can run this time." Wang Heng warned, "You just stand aside and watch. Do not do anything on your own. Let me make all the decisions." He was not planning to let Wang Fang come, but because of her begging, he reluctantly agreed. The condition was that she could only be a bystander and not make any decisions. "I know." Wang Fang really wanted to see Yi Chen's miserable face after losing one of his arms. For most people, losing an arm was a very painful thing. It was not just the physical pain, but the pain of losing confidence in the future. Having a broken body would have a huge impact on one's future growth. Wang Heng sighed. Losing an arm was too much after all. Let's see how it goes. If Yi Chen was not what he had imagined, then just teaching him a lesson would be enough. He might not necessarily lose an arm. Otherwise, it would be better to just kill him. He could imagine what kind of revenge he would get if he lost an arm. The two of them moved extremely fast. Soon, they arrived at the uninhabited island. Woo! All of a sudden, a horrifying sword intent shot out into the sky, spreading out in all directions. The air seemed to be vibrating, as if it was crying. 70% sword intent. Inside the valley, Yi Chen's happy voice could be heard. Chapter 233. As his sword intent reached 70%, Yi Chen could vaguely sense that the sword intent, which was originally intangible, was starting to materialize, turning from intangible to tangible. Of course, with his powerful soul power, he could only sense it a little bit, and could not observe the sword intent at all. Unfortunately, the effect of the Battle King's sword intent in the sword-shaped plant had been weakening. If the first one had brought his sword intent from 50% to 60%, then the second one had only helped him reach 70%. Right then, even with the third one, it would not be possible for him to make another breakthrough. At most, he would only be able to go a little further on the 70% sword intent. However, the 70% sword intent was more than enough. Yi Chen had still underestimated the power of the sword intent. The effect of the 70% sword intent was not only increasing the attacking power of his sword art. It had also made Yi Chen's mind more clear. Some of the things that he had been thinking about before had suddenly become clear the moment his sword intent reached 70%. For example, his lone peak kill, which had naturally been infused with the 13th movement, had reached completion. The sky-shattering clouds had also perfectly infused with the third movement, increasing its power to the next level. All in all, the 70% sword intent had directly increased the attacking power by 30%, and indirectly increased the attacking power by 20%. Altogether, it was 50%, which was a horrifying increase. Cut. Taking out his Starscar sword, Yi Chen's sword intent exploded, turning into a sky-covering blue light as he threw out a sword attack. Crack. The valley had been split in two. The gap was perfectly straight and smooth, showing its sharpness. What was different from before was that Yi Chen could clearly feel the sword intent stopping at the gap for a couple of breaths. Normally, his sword intent would not be able to stop for even a second. All right. Studying the Battle King's sword intent had allowed me to learn a little bit of immortality. Although it was only a little bit, it was something that other sword artists could not compete with. Just by studying the sword-shaped plant, it was basically impossible to learn the immortality. But Yi Chen had the broken Battle King's sword, which had been around for 500 years, and still had a little bit of the Battle King's sword intent. "Yeah. Someone is here." Through the gap, Yi Chen saw two human figures 10 miles away. "Hurry. This person's sword intent is indeed horrifying. It would be hard to find a worthy opponent under the astral reaching realm." Wang Heng was shocked. He was the leader of the Wang family, and he had the four-headed snake's bloodline power. But he had never claimed to be invincible among his peers. He knew very well that there were some extremely low-key clasping Yuan realm warriors in the South Rudra region who could beat or even kill him, not to mention the whole True Spirit continent or the vast ocean around it. The world was far too big. The so-called invincibility of the same rank could only be produced within a certain range. If anyone dared to claim that they were invincible among the same rank martial artists in the world, then they had lost their minds. Wang Fang opened her mouth wide and didn't know what to say. She didn't wake up until Wang Heng shouted. She turned around in a panic and followed Wang Heng. Whoosh! The two of them were both peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm martial artists, and they also had the bloodline power. Therefore, their speed was unbelievably fast. Within a blink of an eye, they had already traveled nearly 1 mile. "You sure run fast." Yi Chen sneered, but he did not plan to chase after them. Right now, it would only take him one sword attack to kill Wang Fang. Killing Wang Heng would probably take more effort, but it would not be too hard. However, if he killed the two of them, the Wang family would collapse for sure, which would not be a good thing for Wang Snake, who was about to inherit the bloodline power of the Wang family. For threats, Yi Chen would not show any mercy. For example, Yuan Zongbua, he was not that powerful, but the Sky Eagle Castle behind him was very powerful. If he did not kill him, there would be trouble in the future. The Wang family was only a rank 9 family, and there was not even one astral-reaching realm warrior in the family. So, the threat to Yi Chen was very small. Of course, all of this was under the premise that the Wang family knew what was good for them. Otherwise, they would have to start a massacre. It has been 4 days. I wonder if Zhu has any news about the Blood Sun flower. Increasing his sword intent did not mean that he could let go of his attacking power. With the power to perform his minor blood demon body separating great art, Yi Chen's attacking power could still increase to a horrifying level if he were to risk his life. Performing his separating shadow flying art, Yi Chen flashed and flew out towards the Snake Island. In the Wang family's lobby, what? He has caught up to the Snake Island? Wang Heng's expression changed drastically as he forced a smile. Wang Fang did not have that arrogant attitude from before. She bit on her teeth and said, "If he comes to the Wang family for revenge, I will fight with him. I am the one who caused all of this." Wang Heng sat down dejectedly. "What do you have to fight with him? I have told you all the time, there is always someone more powerful than you. Do not think that with the power of the bloodline, you can look down on all the warriors at the same level. Now you know the consequences. Before, I had asked people to find disciples with the highest purity of the bloodline to inherit the power. It was all for the Wang family to become more powerful and regain the glory of the past. But you just had to go against me, thinking that the disciples from the branch family do not have the right to do so. You have to know one thing. In this true spirit continent, only the powerful are respected. The so-called orthodox families are only a group of ants in the eyes of the powerful ones. They can be destroyed with a flick of their fingers. Wang Fang did not say anything. Right then, a manager walked in. Leader, he did not come up. Instead, he stayed in the restaurant. Stayed in the restaurant? Wang Heng froze for a second, then a happy expression appeared on his face. He thought that there might be a chance. He hurried to yell, "Inform everyone in the Wang family, no one is allowed to disturb him. Whoever dares to do so, kill them." "Yes, sir." On the second floor of the restaurant, the waiter and the shopkeeper were trembling, not daring to move a muscle. Especially the waiter who had brought the food and wine to Yi Chen, he had a look of fear on his face. Both of his knees softened as he kneeled on the ground, stuttering, "Young warrior, please don't kill me. I had no choice." Yi Chen waved his hand, and the waiter could not help but stand up. He said, "It is none of your business. Go and prepare some food for me." All right. The waiter and the manager were relieved. They hurried downstairs to prepare the food. Taking a sip of the tea, Yi Chen thought to himself, I was not here for the past few days, and Uncle Ju could not find me. I wonder if I should go to the Wang family and ask. Just as Yi Chen was about to leave, he suddenly saw Uncle Ju from the window. He laughed, Uncle Ju, over here. Young warrior Yi. Uncle Ju did not come in from the front door. He flew straight up the stairs and landed in front of Yi Chen. He took out 3 blood sunflowers from his storage ring. Each of them was more than 200 years old, and one of them was even 400 years old. Almost half of it was dyed red. Uncle Ju said apologetically, I don't know if 3 are enough. Master Snake and I have just arrived at the main house, so we could only get 3 blood sunflowers. He did not know about the news in the Wang family, so he did not know that Yi Chen had battled with the 3rd grandaunt of the Wang family, and even killed the 4th master of the Wang family. Yi Chen frowned. To be honest, these 3 blood sunflowers seemed to be 800 years old, but it did not mean that they could be compared with one 800 years old blood sunflower. Under normal circumstances, 10 400 years old blood sunflowers might not even be able to compare with one 800 years old blood sunflower, not to mention 1000 years old blood sunflower. But he also knew that Uncle Ju's power was limited. To be able to bring him 3 blood sunflowers was already his best. It seems like I still have to go to the Wang family, at least collect some interest and get a few 1000 years old blood sunflowers. A thought flashed through Yi Chen's mind. Chapter 234. Out of Yi Chen's expectation, when he entered the Wang family's villa, he was not stopped at all. In front of the majestic hall, Yi Chen stood there. Wang Heng was smiling, but he was actually smiling bitterly as he walked out. I am the leader of the Wang family, Wang Heng. May I know your surname? My surname is Yi. Yi Chen said lightly. Warrior Yi, my 4th brother tried to assassinate you, and it was his fault. You killed him, so we are even. Next, my 3rd sister tried to kill you indiscriminately, and I am willing to make up for this sin. Yi Chen smiled meaningfully. I seem to remember that you and your sister went to a nameless island before. Is that true? Ahem. Wang Heng looked embarrassed. That is true. Forget it. Honest people don't beat around the bush. Wang Snake and Uncle Ju entered your Wang family, so they are considered part of the Wang family. I don't want to turn against them, and it will be hard to talk to them in the future. However, it is a fact that your sister wanted to kill me. Up until now, basically all the people who wanted to kill me are dead. I wonder if the Wang family can protect your sister? Wang Heng said honestly, no. The scariest part of the sword intent was not only in its attacking power, but also in its invisible killing power. Killing nothingness was not just an empty phrase, but it really existed. When the sword intent was not deep enough, it could kill the nothingness of a person, such as distracting thoughts and inner demons. When the sword intent reached a very high level, it could kill the nothingness of others. When it was for good, it could kill the distracting thoughts and inner demons of others to aid in their training. When it was for evil, it could kill the life and soul of others. No matter how powerful you were, if your spirit and willpower were not strong enough, you would not be able to stop the sword intent. Of course, Yi Chen obviously had not reached such a horrifying level. However, even if he could not kill the opponent's life and soul, he should be able to injure their spirit. Therefore, those who did not have strong willpower would not be able to withstand it. Yi Chen did not linger on this topic, so he said directly, I need the blood sunflowers. The higher the temperature, the better, and the more you can have. Blood sunflower? Wang Heng let out a sigh of relief. He had thought that Yi Chen was going to ask for something difficult, and had already mentally prepared himself. He did not expect it to be for the blood sunflower. The blood sunflower might be a rare spirit flower in the outside world, but to the Wang clan, it was not rare at all. Because of their constitution, the Wang clan had been growing the blood sunflower for generations. Wang Heng carefully said, the blood sunflower is extremely difficult to cultivate. Most of them die after 500 years, and those that can grow to 800 years are 1 in 10,000. Those that can grow to 1,000 years are even rarer. Currently, There are 3,000-year blood sunflowers in the flower garden. If you don't mind, young hero, ye can come with me to the flower garden. All right. Regarding Wang Heng's words, Yi Chen understood. Humans had lives, and so did plants. It was not like all the blood sunflowers could grow to 1,000-years-old blood sunflower. If that were the case, the true spirit continent was so vast, and there were so many unexplored places, there would be thousands or even tens of thousands of years old spirit plants and flowers everywhere. This was not something that could be forced. The Wang family's flower garden was at the back of the villa. It was dozens of miles wide, and as far as the eye could see, it was filled with all sorts of colors. The most eye-catching one was naturally the flower garden in the middle, which was filled with blood sunflowers. Arriving in front of the flower garden, Yi Chen scanned it with his soul power, and immediately found dozens of 800-years-old blood sunflowers. Without saying a word, he made a grabbing motion in the air, and the dozens of blood sunflowers flew out of the ground and landed on Yi Chen's hand. Wang Heng took out dozens of jade boxes from his storage ring and handed them to Yi Chen. These are specially made to store the blood sunflowers. They can store their yuan qi and prolong their life. Thanks. Yi Chen did not hesitate as he put the blood sunflowers into the box one by one, closed it, and continued his search. The blood sunflower garden took up 1/3 of the whole garden, with a length and width of 6 to 7 miles. 6 to 7 miles might only take a powerful clasping Yuan realm warrior 10 blinks of an eye to cover, but it was more than enough for planting plants. In Yi Chen's world, it would take a normal person more than an hour to cover 6 to 7 miles. Luckily, Yi Chen's soul power was powerful enough to cover 2 to 3 miles. With one scan, the 800-years-old blood sunflowers had nowhere to hide, and were found immediately. This speed shocked Wang Heng, and he could not help but feel a bit sad. The Wang family indeed had a special method to grow the blood sunflowers, but an 800-year-old blood sunflower was not something that could be achieved just by growing it. It had to have a strong life force, otherwise it would lose its life force after 500 years, and the medicinal effect would decrease drastically. That would be for the best. When he is satisfied, our Wang family will be at peace. The reason why Wang Heng asked Yi Chen to come to the garden was because he was afraid that Yi Chen would not be satisfied. On the other side, Yi Chen's eyes brightened. In the middle of thousands of blood sunflowers, there was a blood-red blood sunflower standing there. It was obviously 1,000 years old. Back. Releasing his Zhen Qi, this 1,000-year-old blood sunflower landed on Yi Chen's hand, and was put into a jade box. Wang Heng laughed. Last time I checked, there were 3,000-year-old blood sunflowers. Because they would lose their yuan qi if they left the ground, I did not pick them. Now, there are 2 left. Yi Chen said, don't worry. Now that I have the blood sunflower, the conflict between me and the Wang family will be over. Of course, I believe what you said. After hearing what Yi Chen had said, Wang Heng's attitude changed a bit. He realized that Yi Chen was actually quite easy to get along with. He was neither arrogant nor pretentious. However, it was this kind of person that was the scariest. It would be fine if he did not mess with him, but if he did, he would have to face a deadly counterattack. He was secretly glad that things had been saved in time. With 3,000-year-old blood sunflowers and 26 800-years-old blood sunflowers, Yi Chen was very satisfied. With this many blood sunflowers, it would be enough for him to perform his minor blood demon body separating great art many times. With this art, there would not be many people below the astral reaching realm who could beat him completely. In other words, he would not be afraid of anyone below the astral reaching realm. Of course, unless it was a life and death situation, it would be best not to use the minor blood demon body separating great art. Not to mention the huge side effects. Just the fact that the minor blood demon body separating great art might cause a lot of trouble. Seeing that there were only a few 800-years-old blood sunflowers left, Yi Chen did not plan to continue picking them. He knew that he had to leave some space for himself. However, just as he was about to leave, he suddenly heard a sound of surprise. Warrior Yi, what's wrong? Wang Heng asked confusedly. Shoo. Yi Chen did not answer. He extended his body and landed right in the middle of the blood sunflower garden. Using his soul power, he could vaguely sense a bloody gold qi coming out from the soil, forming a special area. In this small area, the blood sunflowers were obviously growing more vigorously, and they were even more mature than the other blood sunflowers. Perhaps it was because the garden was too big, and there were too many blood sunflowers, but no one paid attention to it. After all, without his powerful soul power, Yi Chen would not be able to notice it. There is something strange down there. A thought flashed through his mind. Yi Chen asked Wang Heng, "Can I open up this land? I can make up for the damage." Wang Heng did not doubt him, so he nodded and said, "Warrior Yi, what are you talking about? As long as you are willing, you can take all of the blood sunflowers, and I will not complain." Just as he finished talking, Yi Chen made his move. He waved his right hand, and the soil in this area was dug out. It was a couple of meters wide and 10 meters long, looking like a mud pillar that had just been pulled out. Once the mud pillar came out of the ground, it immediately released a bright bloody gold chi. Under Yi Chen's dismemberment, the mud pillar became smaller and smaller, until it was only the size of a water tank. This water tank-sized mud block was completely covered in a bloody gold color, looking half transparent. Through the translucent mud block, Yi Chen and Wang Heng could see a palm-sized blood sunflower growing inside. Its whole body was a bloody gold color, and it looked like gold or jade, shining brightly. "This is 1,500 years, no, 2,000 years, no, 3,000 years. Blood sunflower." Wang Heng stuttered a bit. What did 3,000 years mean? Even life and death realm warriors could not live longer than 3,000 years. Among the plants, only a small part of them could live up to 3,000 years. However, those that could live up to 3,000 years were mostly useless, such as a 3,000-year-old tree. Plus, the original life of the blood sunflower was only 500 years. Being able to reach 3,000 years, it was not hard to imagine how valuable it would be. Yi Chen was shocked. This blood sunflower's value was probably not any lower than a mid-rank great weapon. A normal 1,000-years-old blood sunflower would be nothing in front of it. Yi Chen did not remove the mud block on the outside. He was afraid that something might happen to the blood sunflower, and if that happened, he would really regret it. "Leader Wang." Yi Chen looked at Wang Heng. Wang Heng forced a smile. "It's yours now." Yi Chen took out the low-rank great blade he got from the Silent Hills from his storage ring and threw it to Wang Heng. "This is a top of the low-rank great blade." Catching the blade, Wang Heng's impression of Yi Chen improved a lot. Normally, a low-rank great blade would not be as valuable as one petal of the 3,000-years-old blood sunflower. But this time, it was the Wang family, or more accurately, Wang Fang, who was in the wrong. If it were not for the fact that Yi Chen was powerful, he would have lost his life. He had already given the Wang family a lot of face by not fighting back. Comparing a 3,000-years-old blood sunflower to his life, there was no need to explain which one was more important. "I wonder if Warrior Yi could leave some of its roots for me." The blood sunflower that could live up to 3,000 years old was very precious. Although the blood sunflower cultivated from its roots would not be as good as the main one, it should be able to live up to 1,500 years. Yi Chen nodded. He scanned with his soul power and found a root that would not affect the blood sunflower too much. He moved his fingers, and this tiny root was pulled out, floating towards Wang Heng. Wang Heng treated it like a treasure, carefully putting it in a jade box. Then, he thought of something and said to Yi Chen, "The blood sunflower needs to absorb nutrients to survive. My Wang family has specially made these nutrition potions. I can give you some. Sprinkle some on it every once in a while, it will keep the blood sunflower alive." Yi Chen had already put the blood sunflower into his storage ring, so he would not reject this suggestion. The two left the garden and walked towards the living room. Suddenly, there was a strange vibration in the sky. Yi Chen and Wang Heng looked up. In the distant sky, a golden flame was expanding rapidly. Wherever it went, the clouds were torn apart, and the air turned into a vacuum state. "Fire Spirit Prince." Wang Heng was shocked. Yi Chen asked curiously, "This person looks very young." Wang Heng explained, "The Fire Spirit Prince is the head disciple of the Fire Spirit Palace, one of the top 3 rank 6 martial institutions of the Black Dragon Empire. He was ranked second in the last Hidden Dragon rank. I heard that 3 years ago, when he was only at the mid-clasping Yuan realm, he already had the power to kill peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm warriors. 3 years later, he had already reached the peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm. I wonder how powerful he would be. Last time, I heard that he went to the deep part of the Star Regional Lake to train. It seems to be true. Oh right, Warrior Yi, the Hidden Dragon rank competition is about to start. All the young warriors are heading towards the venue. You should not waste time and miss the chance to join the competition. If Yi Chen did not have the chance to join the Hidden Dragon rank, it would be a joke among jokes. In Wang Heng's mind, he had already ranked him in the top 20 of the Hidden Dragon rank, or even higher. The reason why he did not dare to say that he was invincible among his peers was because of the powerful peak-level clasping Yuan realm warriors. I will join. Chapter 235. Wang Heng had given Yi Chen a whole box of nutrition potions for growing plants. There were 30 bottles in each box, which would be enough for him to use for a long time. After saying goodbye to the Wang family, Yi Chen did not leave the Snake Island right away. Instead, he flew into the air and circled around the island. The Snake Island had a radius of hundreds of miles. 1/3 of it was the city, while the other 2/3 were the wild forests. Besides that, there were also rivers and lakes formed by nature. Soon, Yi Chen found a flat land on the back of the Snake Island that was surrounded by mountains and rivers. This place is not bad. There are fish in the water, and there are wild animals in the deep mountains. Yi Chen was not here for sightseeing. In fact, he was planning to train here for a while, completely isolated from the outside world. First of all, I should train my mysterious great art to the 11th realm, the highest realm. With Yi Chen's comprehensive ability, he had been stuck at the 10th realm of the mysterious great art for a couple of months already. Normal mid-rank Earth realm martial arts would not be this difficult. But the mysterious great art was different. Although the 10th realm and the 11th realm were only one realm apart, the gap between them was huge. Not to mention the fact that the Zhen Qi at the 11th realm would be even purer and more aggressive. Only the Zhen Yuan that could be produced would be able to make any mid-rank Earth realm martial arts pale in comparison. It should be known that not every martial art would be able to produce Zhen Yuan during the clasping Yuan realm, even if it was just one breath. For example, Murong Qingcheng had trained one of the top martial arts of the Sky Demon Martial School, the top-rank Earth realm Sky Demon Great Art. Once it reached the highest realm, the quality of the Zhen Qi would be close to the Zhen Yuan. However, it would never reach the level of the Zhen Yuan. In comparison, the Zhen Qi quality of the mysterious great art was not as good as the Sky Demon Great Art. However, if one could produce a breath of Zhen Yuan, the quality of the Zhen Yuan would be way better than any Zhen Qi, which would give it a certain advantage. One attack would be equivalent to a full power attack from a normal early astral reaching realm warrior. If it were not for that, Yi Chen would not have been so obsessed with the mysterious great art. Last time in the Gold Tripod City auction, among the last 3 items, there was a top-rank Earth realm martial art manual, which was bought by an astral reaching realm warrior for 60,000 mid-rank soul stones. There were 3 reasons why Yi Chen did not participate in the bidding. First, he was worried that the opponent would take revenge on him. Second, the price was too high. 60,000 mid-rank soul stones would be more than half of his wealth. The last reason was that he thought it was too low, and not worth it at all. A top-rank Earth realm martial art might be more powerful than a normal mid-rank Earth realm martial art, but the mysterious great art was not a normal mid-rank Earth realm martial art. It was the top of the top, since it came from the Heaven Dream Battle Palace after all. Plus, once trained to its 11th realm, one could produce a breath of Jin Yuan, which was something that normal high-rank Earth realm martial arts could never compete with. Instead of finding a high-rank Earth realm martial art to train, it would be better to train the mysterious great art to its 11th realm. Unless there was a top-rank Earth realm martial art or even a Heaven realm martial art for him to choose from, there was no need for him to choose. Inside the man-made cave, Yi Chen sat in the middle of the cave with his legs crossed and both of his hands on his abdomen, slowly activating his Jin Qi. Under Yi Chen's control, the spinning speed of the Jin Qi spiral inside his dantian increased. Wisps of Jin Qi were thrown out one after another, making a big circulation along his limbs and hundreds of meridians, forming an extremely complicated and mysterious human Jin-Chi circulation map. As the number of big circulation increased, the Jin-Chi spiral seemed to become tighter and tighter, shrinking towards the center step by step. Nobody could see anything from the outside, but the pressure in the center of the spiral was extremely horrifying. It was a power that could even shatter top-grade steel, and was the core of the Jin-Chi spiral. Time flowed like a small river outside the cave. During this period of time, some high-level warriors would occasionally come to this place, intending to train their martial arts or study their martial arts. Encountering this kind of situation, Yi Chen's Jin-Chi would burst out, and his sword intent would naturally be activated, shooting out a wisp of Jin-Chi along with it. The Jin-Chi that contained the sword intent was just as powerful as the sword Chi. The people who came would cover their heads and run away, knowing that there was a powerful warrior training in this place, and they should not be disturbed. As time went by, all the high-level warriors who lived on the Snake Island knew about this, and had listed the area within 10 miles as a forbidden area. No one dared to step in. However, human beings were always curious about the unknown, and warriors were no exception. Everyone was trying to guess who was the one training. Naturally, Yi Chen did not know what the others were thinking. He was at the most crucial moment, and whether he could succeed or not depended on this one move. Break. The Jin-Chi map inside his body was only missing one point, which was located in the center. As long as he could break through that point, the complete Jin-Chi map of the mysterious great art would appear. Unfortunately, it was not that easy to break through. Although warriors had broken through all the meridians and acupoints in their bodies, it would be easy to break through by running their Jin-Chi alone. However, every martial art had its own unique Jin-Chi map. If one wanted to break through to the next level, he would have to run his Jin-Chi according to the map. Otherwise, there would be no effect at all. Within 10 days, Yi Chen had thought about it countless times, and finally found the perfect breakthrough point. With this breakthrough point as the foundation, the rest of his Jin-Chi would continue to flow, and the power would increase layer by layer. He should be able to break through the center point. Without any mistakes, Yi Chen had succeeded. The perfect Jin-Chi map of the mysterious great art had been completely formed. His Jin-Chi circulation speed had increased by 30% all of a sudden, and it was connected with the Jin-Chi spiral in his dantian. After that, the Jin-Chi spiral shrunk twice in a row, and then exploded with a bright dark blue light. The light filled up the entire cave, and the air vibrated like water. The 11th realm of the mysterious great art. Late clasping Yuan realm. Yi Chen's voice sounded a bit surprised. The moment the mysterious great art had broken through to the 11th realm, for some unknown reason, the bottleneck of his cultivation had suddenly been broken. The quantity of his Jin-Chi had been increasing rapidly, and the quality of his Jin-Chi had also increased. It was obviously a sign that he had reached the late clasping Yuan realm. Normally, if he wanted to break through to the next realm, it would take him at least 3 to 4 months, and that was only because he had a great comprehensive ability, which made it easier for him to break through to the next realm. However, he had not expected that his cultivation would improve at the same time as the mysterious great art had reached the highest realm, and he had successfully reached the late clasping Yuan realm. Is it because my sword intent has been greatly improved, and I have accumulated enough power? After thinking for a long time, Yi Chen could only come up with this one explanation, and none of the other explanations were convincing enough. No matter what, the simultaneous improvement of the mysterious great art and his cultivation was a great thing for Yi Chen. Right now, he was not even sure of his own power. If he could, he really wanted to fight against the ghost head, who had already been killed, and see how many sword attacks it would take to kill him. 3 sword attacks. Or 1 sword attack. Shaking his head, Yi Chen put his attention on the Jin-Chi spiral in his dantian. Hey! Didn't they say that once the mysterious great art reaches the 11th realm, a stream of Jin Yuan would appear? How come there is no sign of it at all? Yi Chen did not think that the content of the manual was fake, there must be a reason for it. After sensing it carefully, Yi Chen finally found a drop of Jin-Chi that was turning dark blue in color. Compared to the other slightly lighter colored Jin-Chi, this drop of Jin-Chi had a darker color, and a higher quality. What was worth noticing was that the dark blue liquid Zhenqi was still increasing in quality, and the process was very subtle, so subtle that Yi Chen almost did not notice it at all. Yi Chen thought to himself, it is true that the 11th realm of the mysterious great art can produce a stream of Zhen Yuan, but it will take some time. If I am not wrong, once this drop of Zhen Yuan is successfully produced, it will be consumed after one use. If I want to use it again, I will have to wait for the new Zhen Yuan to be produced, and the cycle will never end. That is not bad. The mysterious great art is only a mid-rank Earth realm martial art after all, so it would be impossible to produce Zhen Yuan in a short time. So, with one more drop of Zhen Yuan inside my body, I will have one more ace attack, which is even more horrifying than the minor blood demon body separating great art. Feeling relieved, Yi Chen slowly let out a breath, stood up, and walked out of the cave. Beside the river, a bonfire was burning, and Yi Chen was grilling fish. Not eating or drinking for more than 10 days had affected Yi Chen's physical strength to a certain extent. Before warriors reached the Sea of Souls realm, it was necessary for them to eat. The aroma of grilled fish filled the air, attracting a lot of low-rank beasts. These beasts watched from afar, not daring to come closer. Although Yi Chen's qi seemed normal, the deaths of those high-rank beasts were still fresh in their minds. None of them dared to fight for food. Yi Chen chuckled as he waved his hand. 7 to 8 huge grilled fish that were not completely cooked shot out in all directions, landing in front of the beasts. Woo! Woo! The low-rank beasts fought with each other, enjoying the food. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Yi Chen chased away those low-rank beasts who were watching. For the next period of time, he was ready to train his sword movements, and he could not afford to be distracted. Right now, Yi Chen's 3 most powerful sword movements were the one-sword attack, the lone peak kill, and the sky-shattering clouds. As Yi Chen reached the late clasping Yuan realm, the one-sword attack's power had increased again. No one knew if it was a tragedy, but the lone peak kill was still more powerful than the one-sword attack because of its completion. Plus, the one-sword attack had a fatal flaw, which was that it consumed a lot of mental power. So, even Yi Chen did not dare to use it too much. Therefore, the one-sword attack had to be abandoned again. Of course, it did not mean that the one-sword attack was useless. This sword movement would grow along with the warrior's cultivation. At least before the Sea of Souls realm, it would not be outdated. If there was anything to blame, it could only be blamed on Yi Chen's great comprehensive ability, which allowed him to combine the sword movements and the lone peak 13 swords into one. It had reached completion, and its power was almost at the top rank Earth realm sword art. Although the lone peak kill had reached completion, Yi Chen still wanted to train it. In his opinion, although the sword movement seemed to have reached completion, the poetic perspective of the lone peak 13 swords still had a slight flaw. This flaw was not man-made, but because Yi Chen had not performed the completed lone peak kill yet. As for the sky-shattering clouds that had combined the 3 movements of the sky cloud sword art, it was a huge project for Yi Chen. It was too difficult to combine low-rank Earth realm sword arts, because once the sword art reached the low-rank Earth realm, each movement would be very close to perfection and would not be able to go any further. Right now, if Yi Chen wanted to combine them together, the difficulty would be unimaginable. Using the example from Yi Chen's world, if you put some scattered parts together, you might be able to make a machine. But to combine a few successfully made machines together, it would require a shocking amount of skills and brains, and it would not be something that could be done in a short period of time. The sky-shattering clouds was hard to combine, but Yi Chen had never underestimated its potential. If he could combine all of the sky cloud sword art into one movement, its power would reach the heaven realm. Plus, it would be a heaven realm sword movement that he had created himself, which would be different from learning from others. Chapter 236. The completed lone peak kill was extremely horrifying. Before, 1 meter was the best attacking distance for the lone peak kill. But after reaching completion, that distance had increased to 3 meters. Within 3 meters, with one sword attack, the enemy would have the illusion that they were thousands of miles away from each other. No matter how fast the enemy's sword art was, it would still be impossible for them to attack in one go. So, they would have plenty of time to defend or counterattack. In a battle between powerful warriors, even the slightest mistake could be fatal. This was exactly the purpose of the lone peak kill. Right now, Yi Chen wanted to make this poetic perspective more natural, to merge with the nature, so that warriors with powerful mental power would not be able to tell the difference between real and fake. As for how to make it natural and merge with the nature, according to Yi Chen's plan, it would be to observe the mountains and the rivers, to find the pattern. Mountains had their own height, but they did not move at all. Water could be hard or soft, but it would never stop flowing. Combining the two together, one being still and the other being active, they would contradict each other, but they would also be in perfect harmony. It was a realm that was hard to reach with human power. Yi Chen suddenly remembered the 3 levels of Buddhism training. At the first level, mountains were mountains, and water were water. This was the beginning of training, where one could only see the surface of things, but not the essence. At the second level, mountains were not mountains, and water were not water. After reaching a certain level, one would be able to see the essence of things from the surface, and would not be confused by the naked eye. At the third level, mountains were still mountains, and water were still water. At this level, one would be able to enter the realm of selflessness, and mountains and rivers would no longer be a hindrance to oneself. Right now, Yi Chen was still at the level where mountains were mountains, and water were still water. But of course, compared to normal warriors, his realm was way higher. At least he was already close to the essence of things, while the others were still in a blur, clinging to what they saw in front of them. If I could reach the level where mountains were not mountains, and water were not water, not to mention the lone peak kill, even the sky-shattering clouds would be completely merged with it, and even more poetic perspectives, or even more. These 3 levels of Buddhism seemed to contain everything, and the gap was huge. Even if it was only one level, the gap between them would be like the sky and the abyss. Yi Chen did not expect to reach the second level. In fact, it was useless to hope for it. The second level was too far away from him. Seeing through the essence of things was already close to the realm of the heavenly Tao. It was impossible to comprehend it even if he wanted to. He could only accumulate it step by step. If the first level was divided into 3 stages, then Yi Chen was only in the second stage. The only thing he could do was to use the second stage to perfect the poetic perspective of the lone peak kill. On the first day, Yi Chen observed the nearby mountains and rivers. The next day, Yi Chen observed the mountains and rivers within a radius of 5 kilometers. On the third day, Yi Chen was observing the landscape of the Snake Island. From the small environment to the big environment, Yi Chen's comprehension became deeper and deeper. The so-called mountains and rivers were like an ink painting in his eyes, full of artistic conception. Today, Yi Chen left the Snake Island and stepped into the Star Regional Lake. On the Star Regional Lake, the water was sparkling. It was endless. Looking from afar, the sky and the water seemed to be connected. Stepping on the lake water, Yi Chen entered a mysterious realm. He no longer tried to comprehend the poetic perspective of the lone peak kill. Instead, it went from intentional to unintentional. But it would not be correct to say that it was unintentional, because his goal was indeed to comprehend the poetic perspective of the lone peak kill. This way, it would be closer to nature. In front of him, the surface of the lake was shaking. 3 clasping Yuan realm warriors were attacking a rank 6 beast together. It was an intense battle. Under his feet, the surface of the lake started to ripple. Yi Chen's mind was suddenly enlightened. It turned out that what the poetic perspective of the lone peak kill lacked was a sense of reality. The mountain did not move, and the water flowed. This was the most rigid state. It looked like it was still and moving, but it was actually silent. The mountain was because of its height, so there should be wind blowing through it. The river was because of its softness, so it should be wrinkled by the wind, reflecting the mountain, the trees, and even the plants. A light smile appeared on his face as Yi Chen walked towards the battle site. The 3 saw Yi Chen from afar, their faces full of caution. Shoo! Extending his body, Yi Chen appeared within 10 meters of the 3 within a second. Right at this moment, an extremely strange scene happened. The 3 of them felt like time had slowed down. Yi Chen was slowly walking towards them from thousands of miles away. He was very, very far away from them. That rank 6 demonic beast with bloodshot eyes was the same. It also didn't notice that Yi Chen had already arrived in front of it. Reaching out his hand to touch the head of the rank 6 beast, Yi Chen flashed his body and flew out, leaving this place. The three people and the beast came back to their senses. When they saw that Yi Chen was already on the other side, they were extremely shocked, as if they had seen a ghost. How is this possible? He was so far away. How could he be behind us? Is he a ghost? Are you kidding me? It is broad daylight right now. The rank 6 beast's eyes were wide open. Its claws could not help but touch its head. In a blur, it felt like someone had touched it. All of a sudden, a cold feeling spread through its body. All of its hair stood up, and it was in an extremely terrified state. Fuck. This rank 6 beast is going crazy, even its hair is standing up. One of them saw the rank 6 beast's hair stand up. He thought that it was going to kill them, so he yelled out. On a tall mountain on an island far away, the Lone Peak Kill's sword movement and poetic perspective have reached completion. Now I need to learn the sky-shattering clouds. Yi Chen shot up into the sky, shooting towards the clouds. In the Windy Nation. In the main hall of the Sky Cloud Martial School. Besides the leader and all the inner masters, there were 3 other people standing in the hall. Yi Chen was familiar with these 3 people. They were Xu Jing, Luo Hanshan, and Zhu Mai. Luo Xinglia looked at the 4 people down below, feeling quite proud. Who could have thought that after Yi Chen and Xu Jing, Luo Hanshan, and Zhu Mai had both reached the early clasping Yuan realm? Now, the Sky Cloud Martial School had a total of 4 core disciples who had reached the clasping Yuan realm, which was way more powerful than the other martial institutions in the Windy Nation. As far as he knew, after the first and second core disciples of the Purple Sun Martial School had died in the Heavenly Dream Ancient Place, only one of them had reached the early clasping Yuan realm. The South Rudra Martial School had 2, the first core disciple Qin Yulian and the second core disciple Nangong Yun. The North Snow Martial Academy had 3 core disciples, the North Snow Child, Lynch, and the Tyrant Blade Yu Yu. Just like the North Snow Martial Academy, the Emerald Martial Palace also had 3 people, Young Master Emerald Zhuangfei, Extreme Palm Liu Wuxiang, and Ji Shuiyan. Ji Shuiyan was indeed talented. She had surpassed the original 3rd core disciple, Shapotian, and was even more powerful than Liu Wuxiang. She was only second to the Emerald Child, Zhuangfei. Even Luo Xinglia was quite shocked, since Ji Shuiyan's training time was way too short. Even so, the Sky Cloud Martial School had 4 core disciples who had reached the clasping Yuan realm, which was something that none of the top 4 martial institutions, including the Emerald Martial Academy, could compare with. The reason why the 3 of them were gathered today was for the South Rudra region's Hidden Dragon Rank competition, which was held every 3 years. Chapter 237. The competition of the Hidden Dragon Rank was held once every 3 years. All the young warriors under the age of 24 could participate, regardless of their status. There were hundreds of billions of people in the South Rudra region, and there were countless young warriors and martial geniuses. However, there would only be 72 people on the Hidden Dragon Rank. Once one made it onto the Hidden Dragon Rank, it would be a great honor and glory. In fact, the young warriors on the Hidden Dragon Rank were even more famous than most of the Astral Reaching Realm warriors, because the number of Astral Reaching Realm warriors was way more than 72 people, while there were only 72 people on the Hidden Dragon Rank. However, this year's Hidden Dragon Rank competition was the most popular one in the past 1,000 years. The qualification to participate directly went beyond the condensing reality realm and reached the clasping Yuan realm. In other words, without reaching the clasping Yuan realm, no matter how powerful one would not be able to participate in the competition. Of course, many of the young warriors who had reached the late condensing reality realm and were able to challenge those with higher cultivation would feel that it was unfair. If they had the chance, they would still be able to be famous in the South Rudra region. Unfortunately, it was different now. There were way too many young warriors who had reached the clasping Yuan realm. You could beat normal early clasping Yuan realm warriors, But there were so many clasping Yuan Realm warriors participating in the competition. Any mid-clasping Yuan Realm warrior could easily knock you out. It would be impossible for you to compete for the 72 places on the ranking. Even early clasping Yuan Realm warriors would not be able to compete with you. Luo Xinglie glanced at the three of them, and finally landed on Xu Jing. During the past year, her cultivation had not improved much. She was still at the early clasping Yuan Realm, and was still quite a distance away from the peak-level early clasping Yuan Realm. She was slightly weaker than Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mai. However, during the competition, Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mai could not even take 3 punches from her. Some of the inner masters had also admitted that they could not compete with Xu Jing, which had surprised Luo Xinglie a lot. He wondered what had happened to Xu Jing during the past year. Everyone had their own secrets. As long as they were loyal enough to the martial institution, Luo Xinglie would not ask about it. On the contrary, he was quite happy about it. With Xu Jing's help, the Sky Cloud Martial School might be able to shine in the Hidden Dragon rank competitions and not lose too badly. Indeed, the Hidden Dragon rank competition that only happens once every 3 years will be held in less than 2 months. This year's competition will be the most prestigious one in the past 1,000 years, and the qualification to participate will be raised to the clasping Yuan Realm. There are so many disciples in the Sky Cloud Martial School, but only the 3 of you and Yi Chen have reached the clasping Yuan Realm. Therefore, you will be representing the Sky Cloud Martial School in this year's competition. Is there any problem? Luo Xinglie cleared his throat and asked. No problem. Luo Xinglie nodded and smiled. Very well. Before you join the competition, the headmaster will explain to you all the things that you need to pay attention to. The headmaster took over and said, the Hidden Dragon rank competitions are divided into 3 stages. The first stage is the 3 challenges of the Dragon Door, the second stage is the elimination competition, and the third stage is the ranking competition. The first challenge is the wall-breaking challenge. Those who do not have enough attacking power will be eliminated immediately. The second challenge is the Getting Jade Tag, and those who do not have the Jade Tag will be eliminated as well. The last challenge is the most difficult one, which is called the Jumping Dragon Gate. Only those who manage to make it through will be able to officially compete on the stage, and those who fail will still be eliminated. Normally, 70% of the people would fail in these 3 challenges, and only 30% would make it through. I hope that all of you can make it through these 3 challenges and join the knockout competitions. The 3 of them had never participated in the Hidden Dragon rank competitions before. Hearing them, except for Xu Jing, the rest of them were a little bit surprised. The 3 challenges of the Dragon Door sounded very difficult, but 70% of the people had failed in these 3 stages. It was a horrifying ratio. The headmaster glanced at Xu Jing, then said to Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mai, you 2 have reached the clasping Yuan realm a bit too late after all. You have not accumulated enough power yet. At the crucial moment, you need to use your brain, and not just use brute force. Yes, headmaster. Luo Hanshan tightened his fists. He had missed the Hidden Dragon rank competition last time, so he had to succeed this time. He had to at least make it through the 3 challenges of the Dragon Door. As for the elimination competition, it is actually a competition for points. Because of the competition being so intense, even if you do not get injured from the beginning to the end, you will still feel tired mentally. Therefore, during the elimination competition, you can choose to give up if you run into an opponent that you cannot win against. But of course, if you are able to fight against an opponent, you better not give up. It will be a test for you, and you might be able to make a breakthrough during the competition. Right then, Luo Xinglie said, all right, that's all you need to pay attention to. The most important thing is still your own power. The rest is just a small thing. You guys can leave now. Get ready, we will go to the competition venue tomorrow, the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. Waiting until the 3 left, Luo Xinglie looked around and said, what do you guys think about the 3 of them? Most of the people shook their heads. An inner master said, Xu Jing has a chance to make it into the top 100. Hanshan and Zhu Mai will be in danger. The 3 challenges of the Dragon Door will be a challenge for them. Indeed, they have just reached the clasping Yuan realm not long ago, it would be a bit difficult for them. Another person said. Luo Xinglia knocked on the arm of his chair, laughed and said, "It is already a surprise to have Xu Jing. Not to mention, we still have the biggest ace in the hole. Yi Chen. I wonder how powerful he has become after 1 year of training." The headmaster showed a smile, he was quite expectant. The fourth master said, "Of course. With this brat's talent, he might have reached the mid-clasping Yuan realm. Added with his sword intent, he would have a chance to make it into the list." Hehe, I agree with the fourth master. Most of the inner masters still liked Yi Chen, and had listed him as a rare martial genius of the Sky Cloud Martial School. But some of them were more pessimistic. On the path of training, although talent and hard work are important, 1 year is still too short. I am afraid it is not going to be a good thing. To be honest, Yi Chen is indeed a rare martial genius of our Sky Cloud Martial School. But even geniuses need to take a nap. He might not be able to grow fast all the time. He might have to stop for a while at some point. Training is a good thing, it would help him grow faster. But who can be sure that 1 year of training would be better than 1 year of hard training? After all, there would be too many things during training, and it would be easy to get distracted. On the other hand, with hard training, you would not waste any of your time. The headmaster argued, everything has its pros and cons. Without a doubt, training would be more beneficial than that. With Yi Chen's calm personality, he would know what his goal is, and he would definitely work towards it. Luo Xinglia stopped everyone's discussion. You all have a point. But as a member of the Sky Cloud Martial School, you should have confidence in your disciples. No matter what kind of environment a genius is in, they would always be different. A genius who could not handle all kinds of challenges would not be able to achieve much no matter how much resources we give him. With his experience, he actually had a lot of confidence in Yi Chen. But of course, he had the same opinion as the fourth master. He thought that Yi Chen's current cultivation should be at the mid-clasping Yuan realm, and his sword intent might have improved a little. With the combination of the two, he might be able to get into the top 72. Oh right, Yi Chen would not miss the competition, would he? Suddenly, someone asked. The headmaster shook his head. No, he would not. People who have learned the sword intent would not break their promise, unless... The headmaster did not finish his sentence. The training would be extremely dangerous, and he hoped that Yi Chen would be able to join the competition safely. 10,000 meters in the sky, the sea of clouds was rolling, and everything was white. In the middle of the sea of clouds, Yi Chen held up his star-scar sword with both of his hands. He closed his eyes slightly, and stood still like a mountain. This time, he did not use his soul power. He was purely using the poetic perspective of the sky-shattering clouds to feel the pattern and mystery of the sea of clouds, trying to find a way to break through. Break. The second the sea of clouds and the poetic perspective seemed to be in harmony, Yi Chen threw out his sword attack. It was a very simple sword attack. There was no wind-breaking sound, no bright sword chi, but that unbreakable exploding power that could destroy everything and cut everything into pieces. Pooh! The sword pressure made contact with the sea of clouds. Within hundreds of meters, the sea of clouds looked like it had been torn into pieces. They flew everywhere, and could not gather back together. No, it's still lacking a little. It seems like something is missing. Yi Chen opened his eyes and shook his head. He had stayed in the sea of clouds for 3 days and 3 nights. If it were not for the pellets that could instantly replenish Shen Qi, his mysterious Shen Qi would not be able to support him to stay in the sky for a long time. In these 3 days, there was nothing but the sea of clouds in his eyes. He thought that with the 70% sword intent as his support, it would be much easier, since it was only combining the 4th movement of the Sky Cloud Sword art, which would be much easier than the completed Lone Peak Kill Sword movement and poetic perspective. Unfortunately, he had guessed wrong. The Lone Peak Kill and the Sky-Shattering Clouds were 2 different areas. Without reaching an extremely high realm, there would be no way to find the similarities between them. Therefore, combining the Sky-Shattering Clouds would have to start all over again, and it had nothing to do with what he had learned from the Lone Peak Kill. Pap! The sunny weather suddenly darkened. The first of the 3 sky, the surprising sky, had thunder yuan chi pouring down, turning into bright lightning and shooting into the sea of clouds. The sea of clouds seemed to have gained an endless amount of power. It kept rolling, and the color had turned from white to black. It looked like an ancient demon god was about to wake up and punish the land. Thunder, cloud, exploding power. Yi Chen did not try to avoid the attack of the lightning. Although the thunder yuan qi in the surprising sky could kill warriors below the astral reaching realm, once it came down from the surprising sky, it would be mixed with a lot of other qi, which would decrease its power by a lot. It would not affect Yi Chen at all. I see. Just learning the clouds is way too hard, and it is still not something I can understand. But with the thunder power, the exploding power of the clouds would be much more obvious, which would make it easier to understand. Yi Chen was very clear that just the natural power alone seemed easy, but it was actually the hardest to learn. If he could add something else into it, it might be able to help him. For example, if he tried to learn the clouds by himself, he would not get any results for 3 days. But right now, with the thunder yuan qi pouring in, that barrier had been shattered, and he had finally learned something. Without closing his eyes, Yi Chen was in the middle of the lightning and the sea of clouds. He yelled loudly, his voice sounding like thunder as he threw out a sword attack with an endless exploding power. Crack! The power of that sword attack was unimaginable. It had attracted all of the lightning around Yi Chen's body, and the sea of clouds had gathered together, increasing Yi Chen's power. The next second, thousands of meters in front of him, the sea of clouds splashed everywhere like water. Lightning and thunder clashed together, bursting out an eye-catching bright light. The combination of the fourth movement had been completed. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,